Down 5. Standard. So I'm in here watching the Knicks game. Yankees game for me was over as soon as the back-to-back homers. I knew they were cooked. Watched the Mets game a little bit, listened to most of it on the radio. Knicks have it right here. There's 3 minutes left. It's a 4-point game. No, why are you taking threes? Mikal Bridges. He's having a good night, but like it's crunch time right now. There's really only a couple guys that should be taking them shots. It ain't Mikal Bridges. All right, here we go.
Good evening at 10 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by the New York Auto Show. Visit autoshowny.com. Knicks found themselves down by as many as 15, but like they did in game one, trying to crawl their way all the way back. They're down 92-88, 2:34 remaining in this one at the Garden. Jalen Brunson's got 33 points, 6 assists, 19 for Mikal Bridges, just 10 for Karl Anthony Towns, 10 for OG Anunoby as well. And Deuce McBride is the only one who scored off the bench. He's got 8 as Brunson knocks down another jumper. It's now a 2-point game with 2:20 remaining in this one. Cade Cunningham has been terrific for Detroit, 33 points. He's got 11 rebounds, 15 for Tobias Harris, and 11 boards as well. Free throw disparity, 25 of 30 is Detroit. Knicks just 14 of 16, most of them coming in this fourth quarter. They have not shot the ball well, 43%, 32% from deep, getting helped out by the Pistons being 5 of 25 from downtown. But it's the Pistons 94, Knicks 90, under 2 minutes left at the Garden. Mets able to withstand the Phillies 5-4. Edwin Diaz finally able to shut the door after Philly put up a 4 spot in the ninth. Francisco Lindor went deep twice, drove in 4. Jesse Winker homered as well. Tyler McGill, brilliant, struck out 10 over 5 and a third, give up just 1 hit. The Mets win streak is now 5. Yankees unable to fully climb out of a 6-run hole, fell to the Guardian in 6-4. Jose Ramirez, a 3-run blast. He knocked in 4 in all, as Clark Schmidt allowed 5 runs on 7 hits over 4.
Okay.
Just an update on the Knicks game. It's 94-91. Jalen Brunson knocked down the first of 2 free throws. We'll see if he can get both under 2 minutes left. 53 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park. That's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
Where's my shit at, bro? Yeah. My bad. I'm here watching the Knicks game. We're going to get into it. KM to AM, Keith McPherson on the fan. There's so much to talk about. Dial 888-808-1019 if you like to talk sports. We're going to unpack the weekend. I mean, I haven't been on since Friday. A lot happened Saturday, Sunday, and today. The Yankees lose. I feel like they lost like 3 hours ago. That game started at 6. I think it was over by the time we got to 7:30. The Mets win. A lot to say about the New York Mets City Field and the Met fan. But right now, I'm looking at the Knicks like, yo, this is the opportunity right now to go up 2-0. They can't let it slip. Live in Madison Square Garden. We're going to get to it, man. I'm just going to let the game finish out. But they're down 2 right now. That's got to be a foul too. And 1. We're going to talk a lot about the fouls, the whistle, right? How this game was officiated. We'll talk about Saturday's game, compare it to this game. I'm sorry, it's 94-94. I'm live on the radio right now. There's nothing more important than this right now. There's nothing bigger going on in New York than this right now. And I'm not going to give you the play-by-play. And most likely, if you're listening to me, maybe you're watching the Knicks game, maybe you're not. But Dennis Schroeder just splashed the 3. It's now 97-94. Brunson returns the favor, clanks it off the back of the rim. Okay, I said I wasn't going to do the play-by-play. Anyway, Mets fans called me up. the way that this has been going this early on in the season, what do I say? I say, to the victor go the spoils. You win, you got it, right? We have two teams here, and on a night-to-night basis, it's better to start with the victors first. Like I said, the Yankees lost that game as soon as there were back-to-back and a belly-to-belly home runs. They go down 4-zip, and they're without Trent Grisham. I don't know why Mikal Bridges has taken so many shots in this fourth quarter. I know he's having a better night, but when it's closing time, there's really only one guy that's supposed to be taking those shots and making those shots, and that's Jalen Brunson. And then second in command, I would say either Cat or OG. I know Mikal was feeling it a little earlier, but he has not been feeling it in this fourth. I think he's 0 for 3 with his shot attempts here. And this is going to create an interesting dynamic. Anyway, back to the Yankee game. I think we're going to end up talking more tonight. At least I know, like, Yankee fans that want to talk to me are going to talk more about what we saw in Tampa. And I honestly hated the series in Tampa. They should have swept, and I'm still bothered by a lot of things that transpired from, Friday night with Jazz, the makeup call. The umpires are terrible. ABS, ASAP. But, like, it's not even just the umpires now. We have official scores getting involved. We have MLB in their review, which I've seen in New York in the New York office, like the MLB headquarters reviewing things and not getting it right, on top of Devin Williams, which have at it at Devin Williams. I will not get on this microphone and defend Devin Williams. We can talk all around. Oh, yeah, he had some borderline strikes, called balls. Oh, some soft conduct. It does not matter. You get enough opportunities to go out there with a 4-run lead. They keep giving you soft landing spots, and you're the airbender. You're the number 1 ranked reliever in baseball. Like, we gave you some time to come back from paternity leave and get in a rhythm. Now there's no excuses. And obviously the defense didn't necessarily help him out. And you just hate to see it. You hate to see it. I was talking to some friends of mine, and I'm like, you can't get walked off at the boss. You can't get walked off in George M. Steinbrenner Field when you're up 4 runs. So anyway, not looking great for the Knicks, how quickly the vibes have changed. So I'm sure we're going to get an influx of Knicks fans reacting to this game within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So 888-808-1019. If any Yankee fans want to talk about Ben Rice, and I just saw the update that Boone gave, Ben Rice should be back in the lineup tomorrow. Trent Grisham, how about the year that Trent Grisham has been having? Congrats to him and his family. He's on paternity leave. Aaron Judge and the home run that was not called, and how that's going to impact his numbers this year, how they're going to impact his overall numbers, how this is the second home run that has been taken off the board from the guy. He's already got to deal with low strikes called at his ankles. He's already got to deal with all the pressure of being the Yankees captain and being the face of baseball. You would think, right? You would think the face of baseball hits a home run like that in a spring training ballpark, and I would just be, doing the circle with my finger like I'm doing on the live stream right now. Home run. Don't got to ask me about it. Don't got to check twice. The guy that hits all the home runs in Major League Baseball, yeah, I'm gonna bet that one was fair. But yeah, Max Fried, excellent. Max Fried, you just think about him being a Yankee and what it took for him to be a Yankee. And thank God he is with the Yankees right now, as Clark Schmidt goes out there tonight in his second outing, and not so great. And Luis Gil is pushed back to June, and Marcus Stroman's still feeling some stuff with the knees, so he's not going to get rushed back. But it seems like, I think the best thing that we got out of Tampa was Carlos Rodon's outing, as Judge continues to, be Judge, and, a couple other guys show themselves. Volpe kind of breaking out of it a little bit. It's another thing. Dominguez homer tonight. And there was an at-bat in Tampa where Dominguez was struck out and he didn't see a strike. It was the most ridiculous at-bat. Everything outside of the strike, like, I don't know. It sucks as a baseball fan and as a Yankee fan. I want to love the game. I want to watch the game. But similar to how I say the NFL is bogus, the officiating in MLB is bogey. 888-808-1019. There is 3.6 seconds left in this game as Jalen Duren just cashed that free throw. The Knicks are down 6, 100-94. And there's going to be a lot of conversation about how this game did not end up being a win for the Knicks. I felt like they had a real shot here down the stretch. I knew lightning was not going to strike twice the way that it did Saturday. Detroit was completely overwhelmed. The matchups, and shout out to Tibbs for the coaching and the decisions with who would be out there and who wouldn't be out there. They give them a different look tonight, and it doesn't go their way. Even with guys fouling out, even with guys in foul trouble, even without Isaiah Stewart. Now the series starts. I'm going to say this probably for the rest of the night. The series doesn't start until the home team loses. The Knicks playing from behind and trailing, it's a bold strategy, Con. It worked on Saturday. The chances of you going on a run and it was slim. Letting this one slip makes it a series. I've been saying Knicks in 6. I still believe Knicks in 6. For it to be Knicks in 6, Detroit would have to win 2 games. They're about to win one in the Garden, and I damn sure think they can win one in Little Caesars Pizza Arena. There's your 30-plus point game from Cade Cunningham. We'll talk about it. 888-808-1019. But back to the Mets for a second. I don't know how long. Can I keep going, Paulie? We got some time. Because the Yankee conversation is mostly annoying. The Yankee conversation is just dumb to me. They had a winning streak going. They should have swept. And just a lot of nonsense coming out of Tampa, coming out of our spring training home, that we're literally letting these guys Airbnb. What a joke. You would think they'd be better hosts. You would think, I don't know, whatever. What's going on with the Mets right now is special. They're a good team. And it's funny how last week was full of distractions, really around one player. And we all knew it was nonsense. We all knew that it wasn't going to last. We all knew that it was not going to hold, whether you're a Yankee fan, Met fan, or just a baseball fan. You knew it was much about nothing some 20, 21, 22 games in. But the Mets aren't losing in Citi Field. And the Mets are selling out games in Citi Field. And the leader, the captain of the team, is hitting homers and stepping up to the plate and setting the tone night after night, day after day. The Met fan is showing up and having a party out there. The Met fan is showing up and bringing a friend and family members, and they're deep out there. And that's what your owner asked for. And it's a product of the success that the Mets had in the postseason last year. It literally looks like we're right back to October. 888-808-1019. It's got the same vibes. As much as I talked about getting the OMG Mets back together, as much as I talked about you kind of need these guys. Severino, you might want to bring him back. Jose Iglesias, you Candelita, you need that guy back. At least they brought Pete back. They brought Winker back. They brought pieces of that bullpen back. And the Mets are back to consistently winning. The Mets are back to filling up their ballpark, the make it happen Mets, imposing their will, making sure that they come through in big moments and giving fans something to cheer about. Standing ovation or not, Juan Soto broke through, and it was only a matter of time. And I want to say, if that little bit of Juan Soto not coming through with runners in scoring position, not hitting homers, I mean, tonight he hit one that, it did not stand. But just the reaction alone in Citi Field, it's turned up. It's turned up. I can respect it. Now we got Knicks fans calling in, so let's break it down. All I'm going to put out there is we have the Mets continuing their win streak. Another win tonight, a big win against the Philadelphia Phillies. We can talk about that. And we can talk about all the different things about help on the way, players coming back, who's performing. Jesse Winker homer tonight. I bet him on Saturday. I knew he was due. And Lindor, it's about Lindor now, right? Pete, obviously, Lindor now too deserves a ton of respect for how he's carrying the team, how he's playing in that building. The Yankees, I think the conversation now is hey, got to get guys like Ben Rice back in the lineup. We'll see how long it takes for Trent Grisham to come back. Judge is still Judge, but this pitching, you get a start from Clark Schmidt that was pretty decent, and then you get the best start from Rodon, and you get almost a no-no from Max Fried, and here we are. Clark Schmidt, it's fine. In his second outing, gives it up. And, we got to take a break, and then we're going to talk about the Knicks. I see the calls coming in. 888-808-1019 as the Knicks game goes final. A lot lower scoring than the first one. Detroit wins 100-94. I swear the Knicks had it, and then they didn't. Keith McPherson on the Fan. We will talk about the Knicks, and I will mix in some of your calls about the Yankees and the Mets. But this is a 4-hour show. I've got till 2 a.m., so we will unpack everything from the weekend, from today. But, we got to react in real time to the series being tied 1-1 going back to Detroit. You're listening to The Fan. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Yeah. All right. So the Soto homer was foul. That didn't stand, right? Yeah, Soto went 0 for 4. In real time, that's home cooking. In real time, that's being in Queens and them calling the game the way they should. Like, we should have got some of that home cooking in Tampa. It was a joke. This is where I was on the last part of the chat. What up? Bourbon Legend. Your Knicks making free throws, which is important the way it's going. Hope to hear you during the day soon, Keith. You will, because I'll be going live, working on my home studio. I was going to do it today, but I have some influencer marketing stuff to do with this light company. I was going to fire it off today and be like, yo, what did I miss from the weekend? I'm going to start doing some consistent lives from my home studio, talking sports, talking life, talking current events, and DJing a little bit. Knicks got to win the game tonight, Keith. Well, Fat Joe is a New York team curse, needs to be dealt with. Chill. Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do that. You know Fat Joe is my guy, right? You know me and Joey Crack go back, right? 11 years. Let me see if I can pull that up, man. On the real, that's my guy. I hate when people put stuff on Fat Joe because Fat Joe is a true New Yorker from the Bronx and a whole fan. Like, he's really a fan of the Knicks. He's really a fan of the Yankees. You know, me and Fat Joseph in the suites. Look at the ice. I don't got the ice like that. I got the gold chain and then I got the pins. But yeah, that was Joey before he performed. Kyle Riley, Grisham, Judge, homer parlay that got nuked because of that BS home run call. Yeah, I had a couple parlays with Judge the homer too. That was stupid. Knicks let the Pistons get their first playoff game since 2008. Damn. Did they get swept in 2019? Pistons 2019 playoffs. Yeah, they got swept by the Bucks. Pistons 2008 playoffs. Yeah, they lost to the Celtics 4-2. Mets gonna add starting pitching depth next year with Devin Williams too. Shake my damn head. You think they're gonna take Devin Williams, move him to the 8th for a bit, and let Weaver? I don't know if I don't know. You need a period or a comma. Mets gonna add starting pitching depth next year with Devin Williams too. Shake my damn. Like, you think they're gonna add him? Move him to the 8th for a bit and let Weaver close till everyone gets back on track. Can't have a repeat Clay from 2024 here. Swallow pride and learn from the past. They won't. They won't. They're not going to demote this guy. They're going to fix him. They're going to try and get him right. Knicks are trash. Yeah, sure. It helps. All the calls are going to be Knicks. And it's probably going to be mostly pissed off people. I will try to counter with yeah, because that game they had. That's what I said. Bold strategy, trailing, like, and feeling comfortable. Like, yeah, you're, yeah. Why's he got to keep leaving? What are they doing? Shooting him up in there, giving him another jab, and then giving it 15 minutes to wear off. You need more time than that. Ben, what up, bro? Call in and talk about your Knicks, fam. I got a Ben in Connecticut first up. Keith sucks up to the Knicks only because his Nets are out of it. No, I'm getting paid for this. It's my job to talk to the city. Um, it's my job to be on top of all of this. Well, it's a series. Keith McPherson on the fan, taking your calls at 888-808-1019. It's a series between the Pistons and the Knicks. It's split 1-1. And now we go back to Detroit, feeling some kind of way. And I would hope that it's the kind of way that makes the Knicks decide, hey, we don't need to play from behind. We can't play from behind. We need to come out and assert ourselves. We need to hit our shots. We need to toughen up a little bit and take a lead and keep a lead. And even when we do go down, not let it get to like, because you felt like they were about to take that game. At least I did, sitting in here, and I was even talking about it on air. I got excited for a minute. I'm like, this is it. Shot selection, couple calls, couple decisions don't go their way. So here we are, Knicks fans. It's your turn to call a fan. Tell me what you saw, what you feel. I mean, a tale of two different games, a tale of two different fourth quarters, really. Because even in the first game on Saturday, they struggle with the Pistons too. Now, what I'll say is, as I'm pulling up these box scores, so I'll have both Saturday and today in front of me, there's the 33-point game from Cade Cunningham. And they didn't have Isaiah Stewart. You get 20 from Dennis Schroeder off the bench. I mean, Asor Thompson fouled out. It was going the Knicks way. Let me talk to you guys. Ben is in Connecticut. Ben, you got it. You're first.
Hey, Keith. Wow. Diehard Knicks fan. I watch every game. The one thing I have to say, and I don't want to sound like the season's over here because it's obviously not, and we may even win this series. But something I saw in this game is Jalen Brunson like looking around for foxhole guys like he had last year and just not seeing them anywhere. The amount of times that he was on the ground in the paint alone tonight, maybe with Hart by his side, was incredible. I mean, you have Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges both had 0 fourth quarter points. Okay, Cat did not take a single shot in the fourth quarter, and he really was not. He wasn't getting into the post. He wasn't competitive on many rebounds. And I like there was one moment where where Brunson clearly was hobbling on his bad ankle, and he like couldn't go to the lane, and he was like looking around like, God, like someone help me, bro. And I feel like it was like he's looking around for iHeart and Dante, and they're not there, and I think for the first time tonight we may have seen a team that misses the grit. And obviously I like the new guys. I'm not a pessimistic fan like that. I was hoping for the best. But you did see tonight in the fourth quarter of a tough physical playoff game, you saw guys who you can't help but think, we know they're maybe slightly more talented, but are they foxhole guys that Brunson was looking for? And I don't think they were in the big spot.
Yeah, you saw Cam Payne get hot and him to have a Robin to his Batman. And then he was able to put his cape on, pun intended, and close out the last one. But tonight, I understand what you're saying, and I think a lot of Knicks fans are going to look backwards to last year, and we're always going to hold those guys up to a higher standard because of what they did. Like you're going to think, where's Dante DiVincenzo to at least attempt a three, maybe knock it down? Where's Ihart in the paint to maybe bully, get a rebound, a putback? Karl Anthony Towns is not bullying. And Karl Anthony Towns, I was reading, I saw that too. I think Fred Katz was talking about him not shooting. He's not iHeart. And then Mikal Bridges had a better night. And as I mentioned, Campaign, it's a different game, right? Campaign has 0 tonight and only 4 minutes. Mikal Bridges gets going, has 19. He's able to knock down 3 threes, but he shot 11 of them. And down the stretch, like that, the layup didn't go, 2 threes didn't go. So I understand you saying that Brunson is looking for help, but there ain't no help. He's got to be the guy. And if that ankle, right, he's going back to the locker room. If that ankle is bothering him, this is game 2. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the season's not over. The series is not over. Go on.
Well, you get the feeling like we're running out of gas again, and it is very frustrating to watch. I mean, you remember how last season ended with, it was like, again, it was our guys are hobbling, like Brunson's not totally there physically, and it just feels like we're out of gas, and it's so frustrating to watch this team when it just and this isn't against the Cavs of last year, man. This is against the Detroit Pistons, who we should be able to handle. And it actually feels like we are the team getting bullied a little bit, which was sort of the opposite identity as last year. So, I mean, how can I not help but think to myself a little bit like, I can't help it.
Missing some toughness, missing some grit, missing some guys that are gonna go in there and do the dirty work for sure. Thanks for the call, Ben. iHeart. You're definitely missing that guy. And if you watch the Thunder this past weekend and how many guys they have and they added iHeart is incredible. Dante DiVincenzo, if you watch the T-Wolves this year, Julius Randle this weekend, but there's no need to look back. You got to look forward. I just think that they'll adjust. I was, writing notes this weekend about Tibbs and him giving Campaign the minutes and how masterful it was. The 21-0 run, it looked like JV versus varsity. I think we probably expected a little bit more of that, but the Pistons were ready. And as far as it being a physical series and people talking about the officiating and the whistles, there is a line, and they're going to toe the line between letting them play physical, letting them play, and then calling fouls. And sometimes it's going to go your way. Sometimes it isn't. As far as Karl Anthony Towns and referencing that Fred Katz tweet, Fred Katz put out, Karl Anthony Towns did not score in the second half and took his last shot of the game with 5:20 to go in the third quarter. He played all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter and did not get a shot during that time. Let's go to Joey in Detroit, Michigan. Joey, you're on the Fan in New York City.
Let's go, baby. We won since 2008.
What are you saying, we?
I'm sorry about that.
I know. Yeah, since 2008. Been a while. Been a long time. How old were you in 2008, Joey?
So I was 8 years old. I'm only 25 right now. Tate's actually younger than me, if you can believe that.
Yes, 23. And you guys hadn't been in the playoffs since 2019, and you were swept in 2019. So, woo, what a feeling in Detroit. The Lions are back. The Tigers are good. And the Pistons won one game. They might not win another one.
I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm biased, but I really think we're going to probably win in the game 6.
Okay, so for all of New York that is listening now, leaving Madison Square Garden, maybe on the train, maybe in the car, maybe sitting at home just tight about that first loss in this series, what advantage do you think your team has? You think that Cade Cunningham is going to be able to drop 33 every single game? You think they're just bigger, stronger, tougher? You think that they've adjusted to the way that they were shimmying and celebrating in the third quarter on Saturday prematurely, and then they got in the fourth quarter? Tell us what you saw tonight that gives you confidence the rest of the way.
Those are very good points, but I would just contradict one thing. We are very talented as a team. We flow chemistry-wise. And then the Knicks, they have a bunch of prima donnas. I'm very confident in our ability here. I would not call in with this show without this confidence. I think we're going to win 2 games in a row at our home place, and then maybe lose 1, and then win the next.
So you expect the Pistons to go up 3-1.
Yep, 3-1. And then we're going to go back to your guys' place, the Square Garden.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, Madison Square Garden. Your place is called Little Caesars Pizza Arena. Like, don't do that. 888-808-1019. Ray is in Babylon. Ray, you got it.
The Knicks make 2 3-point shots and they win that game. They don't have to change a thing, Keith. They were in that game the entire time. The fourth quarter got a little bit behind them, but for the love of God, you got to make those 3-point shots. You don't think that if they made 2 3-pointers in that game, that you have a different outcome?
Yeah, but it's Mikal Bridges taking them. He went 3 from 11 from deep. I want Brunson shooting that, or maybe even Cat or OG.
Yeah, Brunson can't hit a 3-pointer tonight. What's going on, dude? Listen, I just think that the Knicks stick with the game plan. You got to get those 3-pointers, and I think maybe slow down the game. They weren't looking. Did you notice that they were rushing down the court, and nobody was taking their time to look to develop it? Nobody was looking.
Ray, it made me think about the time that Brunson missed. It made me think about how they had to evolve without him. It made me think about the week that they had off leading up to this, and how that fourth quarter that we saw Saturday, that was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
that was about as well as it could go. I was surprised JB Bickerstaff wasn't calling timeout. I'm like, are you gonna stop this run?
Keith, I was just gonna say that. For the love of God, I'm screaming, timeout. Slow the game down. Take a look.
Well, that was tonight for Tommy Tibbs to use a timeout down the stretch. No, I was talking about JB Bickerstaff Saturday. Like when that run goes to 10-0, 15-0, you let it go to 21-0, that's the game. I mean, the Knicks went on a 12-2 run down the stretch here where it looked like they were coming back to do the same thing. And, you get a couple missed shots, a couple calls. I mean, after Cade Cunningham wrapped his arm around OG, you got to take that momentum. But, that's basketball. You run out of time.
That's the other point I wanted to make, Keith. The refs weren't doing us any favors. I mean, listen, they let the boys play in the first half. That second half, it was all Detroit on those calls. I know I sound biased because I'm a Knicks fan, but they weren't doing us any favors tonight. And I don't know. We'll take 2 in Detroit, and then we'll say hello to our fans, our friends in Detroit. We'll see what happens when they come back to me.
Thanks for the call, Ray. 888-808-1019. We can't cry about the officiating, especially because it's just getting going here. It'll come back around. I'm sure they have their gripes with officiating from I watched the game. Everybody's got their arms in the air. Everybody's looking for something. Everybody. So we're just getting started here. New series. 1-1. It's a new series going to Detroit. Knicks got to take 1 in Detroit. Knicks fans, if I were you and I had the money and the time and loved the Knicks and basketball, I might go check on that. I might go see what the flight to Michigan is like and what the cost of the ticket is going to be. Because as we saw in that last matchup in the regular season, Detroit is alive. They think it's Detroit versus everybody. Detroit is alive. They haven't had a basketball team that was in the playoffs since 2019, and they were swept. You just heard the young guy from Michigan. What was his name? Joey, they're called. He was 8 years old in 2008, the last time they felt what it felt like to go to bed, after a playoff win. So if you don't think the battery is in their back for that arena to turn up, it was already like that. They were, talking trash to Landry Shamet. The Knicks travel well. The Knicks fans travel well. The Knicks are used to going into other people's buildings and having let's go Knicks chants. So, maybe some Knicks fans that are interested in going to see it, go out there, go to Michigan. I know nobody really wants to go to Michigan, but it should warm up in the next couple of days. Ben is in Bernardsville, New Jersey on the Fan in New York. What up, Ben?
Keith, my guy, how's it going?
Good. I was, thinking that the Knicks were about to come back and take that one, and then the vibe would be different. It's crazy how you kind of set up your approach on the radio, and I'm watching it live. I think it was 94, or I don't know. And it kind of
94.
And then they didn't score again.
Yeah, I know. It's like when that game was winding down, it was 3 minutes, 2 minutes. I turned to my dad and I'm like, last year's team, I would feel confident they were going to win this game. But this year's team, I don't. And a lot of that has to do with Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, what was he, 8 for 18 from the field today? He was absolutely invisible. There was a play down the stretch, probably the last 2 minutes, where he grabbed the rebound. He was fumbling with the ball. He ended up having to dive, and it almost went out of bounds on the baseline. And it got to the point where I'm like, should Tibbs be employing Mitchell Robinson in this situation? Should he be switching defense offense? Mitch and Cat? Like
It's tough to take. It's tough to take Karl Anthony Towns out when you know he can score and Brunson needs help. And then last game, Karl Anthony Towns with the rebounds, with the steals, with the passes down the stretch. He was an instrumental part of that 21-0 run. Did he get too comfortable? Did he think that? I don't know. I saw the cameras caught him. He dropped the FOH and the hot mics caught him. Was he too confident tonight? Because he was a -10, only 10 points, and then he wasn't getting any shots off late. He was a ghost. He was a non-factor.
Yeah, and then the other guy that the Knicks really changed their team from last year, the other big addition this offseason, Mikal Bridges. I mean, he had the one shot to tie the game at 97 apiece, and he just missed short. And he was missing long in the first half. He was off. He's been off from deep for the past 2 games. I mean, he finished with 19 points tonight, but he wasn't very efficient down the stretch. He missed a lot of three-pointers. He has to be better. Deuce McBride picked it up. I thought he was not good enough whatsoever in game 1. He picked it up tonight. He had a pretty nice game. But Mikal Bridges is the guy that I harp on. That's the guy that you traded 5 first-round picks for. That's the guy that that was, I don't know.
He can't be missing the shots. It's simple as that, Ben. Down the stretch, if you're going to be taking those shots, I think he had a layup attempt and maybe he got fouled and then he missed 2 threes down the stretch. Brunson should be taking those shots. Karl Anthony Towns should be taking those shots. And I know he had a better night tonight, 19 points. He was a +1, 3 steals, 5 rebounds, but still from deep, he hit 3 out of 11 attempts, and missed a bunch down the stretch. So it's like, also, obviously, he was on the bench last game, so the strategy was different, and they wanted to go to Mikal Bridges. But if he's not a primetime player, if he's not cold-blooded, if he's not going to be ice cold in those moments, you're going to come up short. And he was sitting there with his mouthpiece in his mouth kind of looking like, well, damn, I had an opportunity, to really help us out there, and I came up short. Thanks for the call, Ben. Appreciate it. 888-808-1019. So it seems like right now, Knicks fans, the first playoff loss, you're not really mad at Jalen Brunson because he dropped 37 points. And he's if you had to ask me, he's probably 80% on that ankle. Those, ankle sprains like that, you can play on them, and I don't know what they're doing to treat it. And he keeps going back in the locker room. He changed his shoes Saturday. He changed his shoes again tonight. They said he was going to grab the cape. Shout out to Everything Knicks on Twitter. They're like, Brunson went to grab his cape. I said, maybe he needs the cape and cowl tonight because he would have had to, go for 40+ to pull this off. Do you feel like he's looking for help that's not there? Do you feel like, I don't know. I can't go back to last year. Last year's over. Those guys are gone. Frankie's in Bethpage on the Fan. What's up, Frank?
Hey, Keith. Thanks for taking my call. Listen, that Pistons fan that called up before making a song about Arena is actually
I'm like, don't do that. Like, you playing a pizza arena that nobody was going to for years.
It's ridiculous. Madison Square Garden is the world's most famous arena. You can't be that confident after taking the game after this game. Knicks should have won this game. Listen, I know you said you can't complain about the refs.
Yo, did we get Thibodeau audio? Because they asked him about the officiating.
It was awful. It was a very rough game, and both teams were very were rough again. But Mikal Bridges down the stretch, he needed to make those threes. I don't know how you miss those when he's wide open like that. Honestly,
if you got a good look, shoot it, and if you can't knock those down, you're just not a prime time player like that. This is the playoffs. Big time players.
Yeah, I'm sitting there from my TV. I'm like, if he makes this is going to be a double bang. This might be better than Dante DiVincenzo double bang last year. It's ridiculous. I don't understand how you miss those. Open look, straight away. It's ridiculous. And this team, I know people keep saying this team doesn't have the same feel that last year's team had. It's like, I don't know, Keith. It was just an awful game. It really was, between the physicality and the referees and Bridges just in those shots.
1-1. All you got to do is win 3 to win the series. Thanks for the call, Frankie. Man, I had these takes during the year watching this team, and I said every time you make a trade, every time you make a move, you start to strip away who you were, and it changes who you can become. And the Knicks have become now a team that was a 2 seed, now a 3 seed. everybody in the city's fired up. Ultimately, I don't think many people expect them to win a championship this year. But most people do not expect them to be knocked out in the first round. And I still don't. But follow me here. They are learning in the heat of the moment. They are learning under fire. They are figuring out some things, and you could tell, right? And same thing for the Pistons. Those guys grew up tonight. They were unraveling in the fourth quarter, where I'm like, this is the young, inexperienced team again. They're about to get spanked and learn a lesson again. But no, a guy like Dennis Schroeder, a veteran, and Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, I talked about him being a 0 last year in the Sixers series. Got nothing to do with this. Anyway, we got a break. I want to get the audio from Tom. Okay, so Tibbs spoke, and he said a couple things that you're going to want to hear. This is Keith McPherson on the Fan Dial, 888-808-1019. More of your calls and some audio from the Knicks head coach when we return. Okay. Yeah, so he talked about why he played Mitch, and he also talked about the officiating, where I'm like, we got to play that. We can play the whole thing. And if I got to interject, if we got to pause it, I'll say something. We could do that too. Yeah. All right, chat. We're cooking right now. Working on getting audio from Tom Thibodeau. Let me try and get what you guys are saying in the chat. Are you calling me a fat slob? I think you're confused, buddy. Don't let the baggy hoodie fool you, my boy. It's always the people that you can't see their face. Yeah, okay, Keith. Knicks were supposed to win in a sweep or in 5, winning all their home games. So what happened? You never heard me say that. I said Knicks in 6. You never heard me say that. You never heard me say that. Can't wait for you to get your home studio set up. Yeah, I mean, I got it. But a couple things need to happen in my setup with the lighting, with the camera setup, and some other clerical things before I can I'm gonna have a consistent at-home show where I go live at a certain time, 2 days a week. That'll be on the same YouTube channel. Keith, this is exactly what we talked about last week when I came on the show. Our offense is too much dribbling and ISO. And hoping and wishing. Best case scenario, Knicks winning only one round like they've been doing since 2020. Worst case is they lose this year in the first round. You said nothing that we didn't know. Levi, what up, man? It's a series. They didn't lose the series, Knicks are cooked like Easter Sunday dinner. I wouldn't say that. I still think they have better players and a better coach. That's because you guys always think the Knicks. That is true. That's the only facts that you kick, my boy. There are a lot of people that think the Knicks are better than they are all the time. Pistons going down. Keith, Yankees rotation, which was the strength, is shaky at best. Can't trust anyone except Max Fried. Big facts. We're going to get to it later. Thank God for Max Fried. That's what you said before, right? So what happened? They lost the game. It could be Knicks in 5. It could be Knicks in 6. That's not going to happen with the Pistons winning. We still got a chance for the Knicks to win. Very, very true. Brunson should have extended the game by taking the layup to extend the game instead of kicking it out to Mikal. Bro, they're teammates, right? One caller is like, yo, he's looking for help. You got to help your teammates. They got to trust Mikal Bridges. They gave up 5 first-round picks for him. Brunson should have extended the game by taking the layup. That's just you editing what you said. Yo, what up, bro? I mean, seriously, in all honesty, in essence, does it really matter? Knicks getting smoked in the second round regardless. Yeah, because we're not there yet. No, Keith, Fat Joe, my dude. Show the picture. Keith, you buff. I'm speaking about Joey Crack. Oh, when you said fat slob. But Joey lost a lot of weight. That's not right. That's not right. Joey lost a couple, 100 pounds. Joey used to be Joey's probably he lost 100, 150 pounds, I would bet. Joey used to be huge. He used to be he's probably 2-something now. He used to be 400. I got to get you back on the pod in the new studio. Facts. Once I just told somebody just reached out. I'm like, once I get this new studio up and running the way I like, sound system, or not sound system, the mic I have set up, the lighting I have set up, the camera I have set up, which is not this. What I'm doing here, this is straight up MacBook, right? This is my brand new MacBook. So the camera is pretty HD and the microphone isn't bad either. But I have a mic and I have an HD camera from Elgato that I'm going to set up in my home studio to use. Ben, appreciate it, bro. Is that Fenway Park in the background? Never been there. Yo, what up? Hector, what's good? All right, we're about to get back into it, man. We're about to talk more about the New York Knicks. Okay, so we're going to get this audio in and maybe 2 calls before we get to the 1 o'clock. Maybe. What time do you think we got to break it here? 56? Okay. Okay, not wasting any time. The Knicks lose to the Detroit Pistons in Game 2, 100-94, and it looked like they were coming back to do what they did in the first game, but they came up a little short with some decision-making and some missed shots and some calls. We've got a bunch of calls from the Knicks fans, but now we have audio from Tom Thibodeau that I would like to play. It's post-game reaction. I think there's some important things that you would like to hear or need to hear if you weren't watching. So let's just run it. It's about 3-4 minutes. And if I got to interject anywhere, I will. And then we'll get a call or two before we go to the 11 o'clock break and update. Hit it, Paul.
Problematic the whole night. So that's probably the difference in the game. We got to get stops. I thought we had some good looks at threes and we didn't make. So trust the pass. And, but we got to rebound.
Mikal had that open look to tie it up. Was that the as good a look you could hope for, and something?
Again, same thing. It's the right play. It's the right play. Shot it good. We didn't make it. As long as you shoot it good, and he works on it all the time, so it's a good shot. When we missed.
How do you assess what you saw from Jalen tonight?
Yeah, I was saying, he battled like crazy. There was a physicality that, I want to take a look at the, obviously, huge discrepancy in free throws. Huge. So I want to take a look at that. Right? So, I don't understand, how
I won't stop it. I'll interject.
About the direct line
or
drive.
I'll say it after.
Gets fouled and it's not being called. Right? So, and look, I really don't give a crap how they call the game, as long as it's consistent on both sides. So if Cunningham's driving and there's marginal contact and he's getting to the line, then Jalen deserves to be getting to the line. It's really that simple.
Tom, in terms of becoming a 48-minute team, playing the full 48 minutes, where do you
Christian Winfield, that's my guy.
Get to the thing is, missed shots are part of the game, but the rebounding, that we control that. That's your effort. That's all those things. So, if you're not shooting well, you got to do other things to help us win. So rebound the ball. So we know we got to rebound better.
Cat didn't get any shots in the fourth quarter. What do you make of that? And are there ways you feel like you guys can get him a little more involved in those situations?
Well, he's getting touches, but he's making the right play. He's getting double teamed. I don't want him just shooting the ball over 3 people. That makes no sense to me.
And you also.
Well, Mitch was the one guy rebounding.
What was the Cade doing differently that allowed you got contained him pretty well in game 1?
Yeah, no, he's a great player, so it got to the line a lot. How exhausting is it for your ball club to play catch up the entire game, and how problematic is that? Well, you have to win games different ways. Obviously, you'd rather play with the lead, but whatever you just got to find a way to win at the end.
What'd you say?
I mean, talked about the calls, but I think it was 14-2 in the first half free throws. Is that the big piece?
And we got 2 late that were, so, it is what it is.
You saw you guys kind of dominated after that 21-0 run last game. What was the difference this time that they were able to be so resilient?
Yeah, same thing. We made a comeback, and we had a good shot at the end, and it didn't go in. So, that's the way it goes sometimes. Make or miss with.
What's the message or the outlook going into Game 3 now?
Each game is different. You have to reset. Whether you win or lose, you reset. Get ready for the next one. You got to understand what goes into winning.
I know you mentioned the balance in general. How do you feel like the guys responded?
That's playoff basketball. It's it's going to be physical, and that's fine. And the rebounding we have to fix.
When the calls aren't going your guys' way, do you feel like there's an issue at all with maybe you guys getting too wrapped up in that and that negatively impacting you?
That's part of our league. So you make your point, move on, try to do it during the dead ball.
After kind of a quiet game one shooter, 20 off the bench tonight, what was it giving you trouble with him tonight?
Well, I think anytime you put 2 on somebody, you got to make sure you're reacting out. And so I thought our turnovers hurt us in the first half, better in the second half.
Okay, so what Tibbs probably didn't see is the final numbers as far as the fouls go. And I know if you watch the game early, there was a discrepancy then, but at the end of the game, it's 24 fouls for the Pistons and 22 fouls for the Knicks. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing in the box score, the largest discrepancy, the largest just difference is not even just the rebounds, where the Pistons had 48 rebounds, the Knicks had 34, so 14 there. The defensive rebounds, 36 of those being defensive rebounds. Let's take a call before we go to the break. Jonah in New Jersey, talk to us. You're live on the Fan in New York.
Hey, Keith.
Hey, and credit to MSG for letting us get that whole audio. Sorry, Jonah, just had to give credit to MSG. You got it.
Yeah. I think, I was going to talk about Cat. I was going to talk about Mikhail, but people have already, talked about that a bunch. I really think, in my opinion, the number one thing that's been holding us back all season is Tibbs. Because, obviously he's a good coach, but, he's not as good as everyone thinks he is. He's a defensively minded coach. That's what everyone says. That's, his whole thing. We've, consistently not been a good defensive team. I get that we were last year, but there's, a disconnect. And then we also see, with the people he plays, obviously you can't give, people that haven't got much time minutes in the playoffs. But, every time, we saw Campaign last night. We saw Tyler Kolek a couple times. We saw Landry Shamet in the start of the season. And then we see Deuce McBride, who's getting, a lot of minutes. And most games he's not playing as hard as he should. I think, if we end up losing, the best thing we could do for the team is trade Deuce McBride for somebody like a TJ McConnell, something like that. A role player, 6 man with experience and that can play defense.
Thanks for the call, Jonah. I'm not thinking about a TJ McConnell type or Deuce McBride. It's bigger than those type of guys. I think you have to give credit Saturday to what we've seen with the Knicks to coaching. That doesn't all happen without strategy and rotations and giving guys an opportunity like a Campaign. And then you come into this game tonight, you got to give them a different look. It's a series. You give them a different look here. They're collecting data. You're collecting data. It didn't work out. A couple shots go down. If the Knicks aren't playing, somebody asked them, playing from behind, they went down 15. That's a bold strategy. I know you're in your building, but to think that, hey, you can kind of play with your food and not you got to play up. You're giving these guys confidence now. They're going back home, and that's the first win they've had in 15 years. That's the first win they've had, or 15 game playoff losing streak, and the first win since 2008. So I don't know, man. It's a long series, and somebody else will rise. Maybe Karl Anthony Towns gives you a classic game. Maybe Bridges builds off this one. You lose one, you don't lose the series, but now the series starts going to Detroit for the first time. 888-808-1019. If you're on the hold, stay on hold. I'm going to get to you. We got a break. Go to the update. Keith McPherson on the Fan, BRB. All right, let me see, man. All right, I'm working, so you're just gonna see me. They want they want to blame Tibbs and get Tibbs out of there. I'm working on something, so you're gonna see me looking at some things. Let me see here. This guy had this breakdown.
There's never too much. If you have something, you put it in. What do I tell you all the time? Not about editorial. Your job is not to decide. Put it in. Your job is not to decide whether it's you.
Okay, chat. All right, I just looked up what I needed to look at. I don't know. I feel like I'm here to play devil's advocate. I'm here to talk some people off the ledge. I'm here to remind people that it's one loss in a series. Don't throw the coach away. Don't throw the series away. Trade Bridges for a second-round pick. I don't think they're going to sign him to an extension, so get whatever you can get for him. Anthony, let's see. Correct. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Time for Tibbs to go. He got out coached. I just don't think so. Like it's a game, and the game was tied 94-94. Let me go back to the shot chart. Let me go back to the play-by-play. It's just, I don't know. They ran out of time. And that's what will happen to you in the NBA. That's what I'm going to keep saying. They ran out of time. That's why it's not a bold strategy to keep playing from behind. You're the 3 seed. Like, stop being so, have a sense of urgency. Stop being so comfortable that, oh, yeah, we're going to turn it on. You could turn it on. And that clock is tick, 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 tick. The Knicks have a good strategy soon. We'll have a good strategy soon. They better. They're going to adjust. It's a series. So, Mets train keeps rolling. Yeah, we're going to get to it. I've been very impressed with the Mets and the Yankees. But, people expect me to troll the Mets. People expect me to make fun of the Mets. There's nothing to make fun of. They're one of the better teams in baseball. They find a way to get it done. They're rolling. I dislike Bridges with a passion. with Devo, we win that game, bring back Devo. That's what everybody's gonna say, man. And I'm gonna start. I'm gonna go into a little something when we come into the 11 o'clock hour. You know, I'm not a Knicks fan, but I watch their games and I keep a close eye on them. And I've watched them in this era of trading for Josh Hart, signing Brunson in free agency, trading for Josh Hart, getting Dante DiVincenzo to go with Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. There's all these different machinations of the Knicks and this current group that had.
Good evening at 11 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by the New York Auto Show. Visit autoshowny.com. Down by as many as 15, Knicks clawed their way back, tied it at 94, only to get their hearts broken. Dennis Schroeder, the dagger three, at 20 off the bench in all. Pistons withstood the Knicks 100-94. Mike Breen, Walt Clyde Frazier, the call MSG. Cade Cunningham, 33 points, 12 rebounds. Jalen Brunson at 37. Mikal Bridges, 19. But Karl Anthony Towns, just 10. Knicks shot 42% overall, 29% from deep. Series is even at 1. Francisco Lindor, monster night for the Mets. Two homers, 4 RBIs. Jesse Winker went deep as well. Mets held up the Phillies 5-4, despite Phillies scoring 4 times in the ninth. Keith Rad, the call, Odyssey Mets Radio. Tyler McGill struck out 10 over 5 1/3 innings of one-hit baseball. And Jose Ramirez homer drove in 4, propelled the Guardians by the Yankees 6-4 as Clark Schmidt gave up 5 runs on 7 hits in just 4 innings. 53 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park, and that's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
All right, here we go. New York! Dial 888-808-1019 time so we can talk about this one game, this one loss. Reminder, it's a series. Reminder, it's the first round. Reminder, this is the NBA. You know, they like drama, TNT, more drama. Like there's NBA script writers. And the NBA script writers right now are saying, Cade Cunningham, see, there he is. America's sweetheart. I don't know if you've heard me talk about the international darlings, as I like to call them in the NBA, because the NBA is a global game and they want to push SGA and they want to push Giannis and Luka and Jokic. And there's a bunch of them. But Cade Cunningham is emerging as the young face of the NBA, and obviously he's a number 1 pick, and he's part of the resurgence in Detroit. They're these wannabe bad boys. They do not fear New York. They do not fear the Knicks. The battery is in their back now. You know, they thought that they had game 1. They were super confident, and they folded. They started to unravel again tonight, but they had enough of veteran experience, I guess you could say, to hold on. And, you know, I did a lot of like reading up on this team and, you know, guys like Malik Beasley. I think when I was on Friday, I talked about how he spent summers in Detroit. His mom is Detroit born and raised. And, you know, he would go there and he really feels a part of the city. Guys like Tobias Harris, they tried to Ben Simmons him in Philly. You know, Sixers fans couldn't wait for him to get up out of there. And like I said, he has already played a crucial part in this series. He was a 0 last year in that series against the Knicks. You know, even without Beef Stew, without Isaiah Stewart tonight, a guy like Jalen Duren came up huge, 13 rebounds. Tobias Harris had 13 rebounds. That's what I'm talking about. Cade Cunningham, like when you see him next to Brunson, stature-wise, like he's a big boy. He had 12 boards. So, man, they crashed the boards on the Knicks. They are going to play with this toughness, this grittiness. but they are young, right? Young Asor Thompson fouling out of the game. They are young. Man, what I didn't even mention Paul Reed tonight. Without them having Isaiah Stewart, Paul Reed, he comes in and does something that just, I don't know. It's some of this is unexpected out of this Detroit team with some of the characters they have on this team. But what I'll say about them is they are still figuring out their identity too in this first year. 888-808-1019. They have a little bit of confidence now, but that doesn't mean that they have enough players. That does not mean they have enough coaching to take 3 more games out of the next 5 from the New York Knicks, and it doesn't matter how many games it goes. I know there was some people out there like Knicks in 4 after the first game. I'm like, nah, that 21-0 quarter, that rarely ever happens. That 21-0 run rarely ever happens. Dope to see, but they'll be ready. They will throw some different looks at the Knicks. The Knicks will try to counter with some different looks, and I think that's what happened tonight. Mikal Bridges being in the game because he had a better scoring night. He was more involved. He's just not cold-blooded like that to knock down the shots in crunch time when you need him. Maybe they go away from him. Brunson obviously needs help. It's Karl Anthony Towns that's got to step up. And then, as I mentioned those 3, also OG. OG only had 10. And when we saw this team without Brunson, we saw OG really show his offensive game, his offensive bag. You need it now. You need it now. You heard Tibbs talk about the rebounding, right? Nobody in double-digit rebounds. That's where you miss Isaiah Hartenstein. He said Mitch was the only one rebounding. Josh Hart had 7 rebounds to match Mitch's 7 rebounds. You got to crash the boards. You got to bully with those guys, especially going back to their building. You got to fight them. And you got to be careful, obviously, with the whistle and the refs. But, this is what they want. This is what the NBA wants. The NBA wants this to go 7. And, of course, they want Detroit and Cade Cunningham to win. And most of these pundits hate on New York, hate on the Knicks. And I don't know. Will the Knicks grab a hold of this thing? I think they can because I think they have the better coach and better players. But these guys got to figure it out fast. It seemed like there was some figuring going on late in this game, and the math wasn't mathing. And then before you know it, the clock runs out. And so, yes, this is a group for their first time in the playoffs together. Obviously, Josh Hart was with Jalen Brunson. Obviously, OG was there last year. All 3 of those guys end up getting hurt, and then they were out of it. But I just think at this point, the past is in the past. I know some of you still are going to call about Isaiah Hartenstein and Dante DiVincenzo, and we don't have that grit, and we don't have that tenacity. And you know what? Those guys last year, they seem like they'll bite a kneecap, like Dan Campbell. They'll bite a kneecap off to win. These guys, I think they're just expecting to win. They're expecting shots to go down. They're expecting to get calls. They're expecting Brunson to be able to magically just do it all. And when he's not finding it and he's looking to give it up, who's second in command, third in command? I don't know if they have their marching orders. I don't know if there's the proper rank. I don't know where the hierarchy is. It's got to be Brunson, Towns, OG, then Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart if he's open to knock the shot down. But, yeah, they'll figure it out. It's 1-1 going back to Detroit. Let's go back to the phones. Let's hear from you. Jeremy's in Woodbridge on the Fan. You got it, Jeremy.
Hey, what's up, Keith? So I'm almost 40, 35 years at least. I remember watching the Knicks, but it's never easy for us, right? We can never have a 51-point game win like OKC. It's always something close. I mean, it's been my whole life of struggling down, but I got a few points to make. I mean, first quarter I'm watching, and I'm an honest Knicks fan. First thing I'm saying, way too many threes to start. And 2, why is Karl Anthony Towns 7 foot? There's nobody down there to rebound. So they ate us up. I mean, I don't know. I came from an era where 7-foot guys played down low. Stop shooting threes. And also, 10 points, 6 rebounds, and then you go to Duran's stats on the box score, 13 rebounds versus 12 points. I mean, he ate them up. I don't know. Brunson, obviously, he's going to do his own work. And then the other point I have is Mikal Bridges, I didn't even want him to come from the net. I mean, 3 from 11 from 3. He shoots off of bounds, sideways, upside down. He never finds the feet, and that's why he's missing all the time. But the main point, I honestly think, that we need to rebound from this is Thibodeau. He needs to put in, guess who we're missing? Precious Achiuwa.
When he played him in the season, this guy was playing with his heart, blocking people.
Yeah, that dunk that he had on Isaiah Stewart, then he kind of gave him the chest bump. Like, you need that kind of energy in Detroit. Play your toughest guys in Detroit. Play the guys that are like, I'm actually about that life. Like, I'm really with it.
Yes. Old school Knicks basketball. That's how we grew up, right? And then we also got PJ Tucker. People sleep on him, but guess what? He's been through it as a ringer already. He could come and hit some clutch threes, and he knows what he's
So
doing.
you're going where I think they're going, Jeremy. They didn't show everything. They can give them different looks, and that's why it's a series. And for people ready to throw the coach out in my live stream, people during the break are like, "Oh, they got to fire Tibbs. They got to fire for one loss. What if they gentlemen sweep them? What are we talking about?"
To be honest with you, I don't even think that the Pistons actually won it. I really do truly believe that the Knicks just gave that game away because it was just bad management, like shooting too many threes. To drive to the lane, you're in the bonus. It's 6 minutes with the bonus, and they're not driving to the lane.
You're right. The Pistons were unraveling. It looked like they were trying to give it to them again. It looked like they were trying to give the game away again.
That is awesome. See, you agree, man. I love it.
Yeah, we all watched the same game down the stretch. It just was like when the Knicks had the ball in their hands, they didn't make the shots. And then Dennis Schroeder did.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, man. I appreciate the call.
Thanks for the call, Jeremy. 888-808-1019. As we talk to Knicks fans and we talk through the first loss in these playoffs, you're starting to look at this Knicks group, this team. You traded 5 first-round picks to get Mikal Bridges. You traded away guys like Randall and DiVincenzo to get Karl Anthony Towns. When you do that, you strip away what you were. And as they're starting to become who they are, is it enough? Like, I think it's got to be enough, and I think it ultimately will be enough to get past the Pistons. We know what awaits. Let's just keep it on this series. Some of you may feel worse than others. I feel like some people are overreacting online from some of the stuff I'm reading. It wasn't like they got blown out, but it is a little bit alarming that, like, the Pistons ran it up to a 15-point lead, and in the game on Saturday, they had a 9-point lead in that game. So it's like for the Knicks to be the 3 seed and all of the pundits and people that were picking the Pistons right now, those people are feeling some kind of way about, it's more even than we think. I feel like it's not more even because when I'm looking at the players on the court, and maybe I'm underestimating their guy, like Tim Hardaway played 21 minutes. How many points did he score? Nada. We're looking at Cade Cunningham, Dennis Schroeder, Tobias Harris. Like, I don't know. I guess I was sleeping on Tobias Harris for sure. I definitely was sleeping on Dennis Schroeder because Dennis Schroeder played for like 4 teams this year. Dennis Schroeder was with the Brooklyn Nets, got traded to the Warriors. They didn't want him. Traded to the Jazz. They didn't want him. Traded to the Pistons, and it was kind of like he was laughed at. Like, look where this guy lands. But right now, he's on a team where this guy plays international basketball. These moments aren't too big for him. He's a competitor. Like, when you saw Josh Hart throw that ball to the official, like, Schroeder was about that life. Wanted the smoke. You need guys out there that are dogs. You need guys out there that are like, they're not going to fight because it's the NBA. You never know. But, like, they got to have that tenacity about them. They got to realize this is the playoffs, and you need to go down swinging with your guys that are going to go out there and kind of like set the tone. Maybe you do see PJ Tucker. Maybe you do see Precious Achiuwa. Who knows? It's on Tom Thibodeau to literally coach for his life now. And maybe, this is a reality check that the Knicks needed. Because I feel like in the Garden, like I don't know, maybe they play too much into the crowd and the celebrities and the glitz and glamour of it, or like Karl Anthony Towns, don't worry about it. I got it. No, you don't got it. No, you don't got it. Justin in Florham Park on the Fan. What's up, Justin?
Keith, how are you, buddy? Hope you had a good Easter.
I did. Minus the shenanigans with the Yankees and the official scorer, and then the review. I'm like, what the? But
baseball will walk down the road. We're still on the Knicks here. And Keith, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not thinking correctly, but the Knicks are lucky to be where they are right now, Keith. I'm sorry. They had no business winning that game 1. Detroit forgot how to play basketball in the fourth quarter, scored 9 points. And today, I know they almost did it again. But Keith, this is back-to-back games on your home court that you were not looking good until the fourth quarter. That's unacceptable, Keith.
Yeah, that's scary. That's kind of scary. It's not a good recipe for the rest of the way. You've been outplayed in all of these quarters except one.
And now you got to go to Detroit, which again, like you said, is a poverty franchise. Hasn't won forever. Okay, since I was in freaking college balling. Okay, give me a break. They're gonna be pumped, Keith. They'll be
Yeah.
lucky to get a slip.
No, that's what I'm saying. The battery is in their back now. I've been paying attention, Justin, in all sports. The Tigers are good now, right? The Tigers went on a little run last year. The Lions. This city thought that the Lions were going to the Super Bowl this year. They're behind this team.
But it didn't happen, Keith. But anyway, as far as these Knicks go, I agree with that last call. We got to get PJ Tucker in there. We got to get Prince Chu in there. Change it up a little bit. Get a little toughness because they are out muscling us. They want the ball more. Schroeder, listen, you can say what you want about Schroeder. He's been on 4 teams this year. He can play on my team any day of the week, man. I'll take him over Miles McBride any day of the week, man, as a backup player.
Yeah, he's just a veteran.
I wish the Knicks would have went after him, but, they don't want to because of the stupid apron. They couldn't get him anyway. So this is who we are. Listen, if Bridges is not going to hit threes, we're doomed. If Hart's not going to hit threes, we're doomed because they're going to double and they're going to make someone other than Brunson beat us. And if they're going to just let Hart shoot the ball and Bridges shoot the ball and not make it, we're in trouble, Keith. We really are. Because we're not getting rebounds, like you said. And if someone wakes up Towns, and like the other call said, play like a big man. Stop with these outside shots. Play down low, man. Play on the blocks. They didn't have Stewart tonight, and we took not one advantage of it.
Yeah, well, he doesn't want to play that way. And you heard Tibbs defend him saying, he's getting doubled, he's giving the ball up, he's looking for somebody else. But like I said, if Brunson is looking for help, it's got to be Cat. Cat's got to be second in command.
You're a smart man. Is Shaquille O'Neal passing the ball on that, or is he going?
I mean, Shaq couldn't shoot it like Cat. The fact that Cat is the best shooting big man of all time, depending on who you ask. No, he's got to, and that'll be an adjustment. That'll be something in film where they pause the film, they use the red laser, and they say, Cat, right here, give him the up fake, go to the hoop.
Last thing, like you said, Brunson is definitely not 100%. So they need somebody else to step up, and it should be Cat. Because when we gave up, and listen, I know Randall did nothing last year, but DiVincenzo was a money player in the finals, okay? We gave up a guy like that, great. He was mixing very well with his boys from Villanova. So if Cat does not step up here, this is a big problem. And this is a guy, I didn't even want him to begin with. But now this is showing why I didn't want him. Because if he's going to come up this small against this young and inexperienced team, we're in trouble.
Yeah, he can't. He can't. Thanks for the call, Justin. He can't, and he won't in the next game. And I think you'll see that right away. I think you'll see a different energy from the Knicks right away. It's in Detroit. So the same way Knicks fans waited outside for Malik Beasley to go to the car, and we don't rock with you, Mick. They start yelling. Like these Detroit fans, they haven't had this in a long time. They're going to be on one. Good. It's theater. It's cinema. This is what you watch for. The NBA, more drama. The script continues. 888-808-1019 as we continue. If you're on hold, stay on hold. We're going to stay with the Knicks conversation. When we get closer to 12, we'll bring in the Mets. We'll bring in the Yankees slowly. But there's still more to do. I'm going to hit you guys with some facts and some different things from this game and the first game. Keith McPherson on the Fan. BRB. All right. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Oh, the Caputo family is in the chat now. Interesting. Bush League. Nonsense. I heard Marco resembles a 90s version of Fat Joe. What are you talking about, bro? You got to go to bed, bro. Keith, I'd like to see Judge hit at least 65 home runs, if not more. Everybody talks about Judge breaking his own record. I don't see that happening, like, ever again. Like, he had 58 last year. Knicks better not lose game 3, otherwise we're cooked. Perhaps. It wasn't a terrible loss because they were losing the game the whole way. It's only a terrible loss because a lot of y'all thought that they were going to come back and do what they did Saturday. We have the same last name. Same last name. Rare, but it happens. Judge ain't hitting 65 home runs. He needs to have a great postseason because he sucks in the postseason. Yeah, we all know. Yeah, we're all Hoboken guys. My last name's McPherson, though. Yankees should have won. 2 goes to show you their pitching sucks. I'm still mad about the Devin Williams. They should have swept it. That game was so stupid. Tonight, Clark, it's his second start, his first back on the road. Like, it is what it is. When the Knicks applied pressure on Saturday, the inexperience showed. The physicality has to be there from the jump every game. Yeah, but they were prepared for it this time. The defense there, offense isn't really that good either. Cody Bellinger has been a big letdown. Yeah, he homered on 420. Now he's probably not going to homer for another 20 at-bats. Hoping Judge can do a lot in the postseason. I miss Juan Soto. He's in Queens. They taking all fans they can get in that place. Should have never let Soto go. We didn't let him go. Hal sucks. Hal offered him $760 million. We didn't let him go. Could have had Judge and Soto 7 more years. Then you wouldn't have Max Fried. What are you talking about? Exactly. Soto never wanted to stay. He was never down for the Yankee way. He was never down to be in Judge's shadow. He didn't care for any of that. Max Fried. We ended with Max Fried. Thank God. Honestly, and I'm going to talk about it tonight, I am dreaming of Cole coming back ahead of schedule next year. If Cole can come back with a Tommy John robot arm ahead of schedule next year, sign Michael King in the offseason, and you got Cole, Fried, and King. Let's go. It's not going to happen, but yeah, Ben Rice will be back today now, or actually, no, it's not 12 o'clock, tomorrow. Dennis Schroeder plays well wherever he goes. He's a gamer. Yeah, that's why I said he's a German, bro. He plays international ball. He plays soccer. He's got a different view of this stuff. He's got a slow heartbeat. Like, it doesn't bother him. Big fan. Keep listening to you on my drive home at night. Keep crushing it, bro. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you going from the radio to YouTube. I'm glad that I have this stream now for people that are at home. I know it's kind of hard to watch a stream at work. Maybe some at work. OG from Hoboken. Appreciate it. I was walking past. I live by like the Hoboken fire department. I was walking past the Hoboken fire department, and this guy ran out, and I got my headphones in, and I hear Keith, and I'm like, and he's running towards me in a suit. I'm like, what is this about? And like a lot of times I don't realize that people can actually recognize me because it's radio, but like, I don't know. I've been doing this now 4 years. He's like, I'm a big fan. Bro. He's like, me and the guys, we all listen to you in there. I'm like, yo, wow. I'm like, I just didn't know what to say. I was flattered. I'm just walking down the street getting ran down by a guy that was easily 50 years old. So yeah, the radio is powerful. Internet is powerful. Hoboken is powerful. A lot of people over there. If I was younger, I used to always live more in the Jersey City area. But if I was younger, Hoboken, the bars, the night scene, I'm out the game though. I'm old. I'm married with a kid. I ain't even got the time or energy, and I can't drink like I used to drink anyway. So, let me see if I can hit him with some facts from this weekend. Because in that first game, you get 23 from OG, 23 from Karl-Anthony Towns. Like, Brunson needs a supporting cast. The steals, OG had 5 steals. Karl-Anthony Towns had 4 steals. You got to turn it over. Okay, let's keep talking Knicks. Keith McPherson on the fan after the Knicks lose to the Pistons in Detroit. They are greasing up the poles. Oh, no, that's what they do in Philly. Well, Mets knocked off the Philadelphia Phils. The fighting Phils tried to come back. We're going to get into the Mets conversation eventually and the Yankees too. But, just looking at the box scores, a tale of two games, in that first game Saturday, OG had 5 steals and Karl-Anthony Towns had 4 steals. And I mean, when you have that many steals and you're turning the ball over, and that's how you have these runs, right? They're playing defense, they're stopping them, they're stealing the ball, they're rebounding. Karl-Anthony Towns with 11 rebounds, OG with 7 rebounds. Like, got to get back to that. Brunson needs a crew around him. In that first game, he had 34, but Karl-Anthony Towns had 23. OG had 23. Even Josh Hart had 13. And Campaign off the bench had 14. And when you look at how that run started, and they're not going to be able to duplicate this, but I don't know, a lot of us were watching the game tonight thinking maybe, I saw Underdog NBA put out the Knicks 21-0 fourth quarter run, changed the game. Payne and 1, Brunson 2 points. Payne 3, Brunson bucket. Another Payne 3, Brunson 2, Brunson 2. So it's like when you're kind of trading off like that, it's not Brunson every drive, and then they're getting the points in the paint, right? In transition, they're coming down, and Hart had a layup. Hart had another layup. It's like you're just kind of putting it on these young guys, and they were folding under pressure. In the moment, you could tell the walls of MSG were closing in on them. It didn't feel like that. It felt like they regrouped. They had some time here to, I don't know, sit in New York City for a night or two and watch film and have a different game plan. Well, the Knicks just got to have a different game plan going into Detroit. Like I said, these Detroit fans, they're going to be on one. It's been a while since they've been able to, go to their arena and celebrate their team. The officials are going to play a big part in this. And I don't care who you are or what you say. In the NBA, the officiating, it sucks everywhere, honestly. I'm so over it. The NFL is bogus. The umpires in Major League Baseball are trash. It's standard. And the officiating in the NBA, they even put stuff out, right? Like I saw Stephen Bondi put the Knicks are 6-11 in games officiated by Ray Acosta over the last 3 years. The Pistons are 6-2. So you start looking up the numbers of how these guys call games and what goes on. And that's the guy who called the game tonight. So it's just people just kind of look at the information that they have and you kind of go into the game knowing how it's going to be called. And when you heard Tom Thibodeau talk about, the discrepancy, what it really was, and at the end of the game when it's 24-22 fouls, that's one thing. But I went to StatMuse, let me go back into my notes, and they had the numbers for, free throw attempts, 34 for the Pistons, 19 for the Knicks. So that's why Tibbs is talking about Cade Cunningham, and you could tell how aggressive Cunningham was in the lane going to the rack, and him getting fouled, him getting the kind of he is how tall is Cade Cunningham? 6'8", 6'7"? When you just look at him compared to Brunson, he's 6'6". I don't know, maybe the fro gives him an extra inch or two. He's just a lot bigger than Brunson. And if he's getting the calls and Brunson's not getting the calls, I think it was strategic with the coach, with Tom Thibodeau coming out tonight and saying what he said. You've watched the NBA. When these guys say it with their chest and they say something in the postgame and this message gets sent around, everybody hears it, and we'll see how they call the next game. But the Knicks got to be more assertive. The Knicks got to go out, one, out physical, out tough them, and show them we here, as the road team, and don't let the building get to you. And then 2, score, find a way, find a hole, find the mismatches and score and be able to take the lead. And obviously, if you can stop Cunningham, I just don't think that, I don't know, Dennis Schroeder and Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr., those guys, I don't think those guys are going to be able to beat the Knicks. Not when the Knicks have Brunson, OG, Karl-Anthony Towns. Mikal Bridges showed himself a little bit more tonight. Josh Hart, and we'll see. I think you're going to see something different off the bench as well. So that's my part, man. I don't know. I always look at these series. We don't know. I always look at these series as, it doesn't start until the home team loses. The home team barely lost tonight, and let's see what happens in Detroit. This is a team that maybe going home for Detroit might be too much for them. Maybe going home for Detroit backfires on them a little bit. Knicks fans, I just think you got to This is it. This is your round. And unfortunately, in 888-808-1019, we'll get back to the calls. Unfortunately, right, they didn't sweep. So now you're hoping it's Knicks in 5 for the weeks here since we knew. I've been saying Knicks in 6, putting respect on Detroit, thinking that they're going to win a game in Madison Square Garden, if not winning 2 games in their building. I think they could win the next one. But it's a series, man, and you've got more experience. You've got a better coach. And I think it means more. As we're talking about this Detroit team, they were one of the worst teams. They were the worst team last year. And they obviously put together some journeymen and their superstar emerged. So now they're feeling themselves. But this is their first year here. This Knicks team, the Knicks have been here with this coach in different parts of this team. This is the first year for Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges to be involved. And honestly, their window is like maybe 2-3 years max. Can't be a first-round exit. Don't expect them to be a first-round exit. The coach is going to coach like his life depends on it, because it might. And these players are going to have his back, and they're going to go in there and they're going to compete. They're not. I don't see them losing both games in Detroit. But who knows? 888-808-1019. Dan is in Ossining on the Fan. Thanks for waiting, Dan. You got it.
Real quick, I want you to go in a time machine with me now, back to April 8th against the Celtics. One guy had 34 points, 14 rebounds, 15 rebounds. He didn't touch the ball the last 2 minutes of regulation and in the overtime period. That was Karl-Anthony Towns. He sat in the corner while Jalen Brunson played iso ball. And I love Brunson, I truly do. But the problem is he gets too much into the isolation ball. It's like Melo back in the early 2010s. The same exact
Yeah. I hate to say it. You actually took something that everything Knicks was talking about this in my chat earlier, and we were talking about it. He was like, I hate that the offense turns into iso ball and dribbling, and it seems like they don't know what to do. And when you're unprepared, when you don't have sets and certain plays run or enough experience in the heat of the moment, crunch time, knowing, hey, I can dish here, or when I go through the lane, this guy's going to be parked out on it. Like, I feel like they should be there, but the end of the season was interrupted by, Brunson being hurt, and they had to evolve and adapt into a different team a bit. And now that Brunson's back, everybody's expected him to be Superman. He can be on most nights, but in a series, somebody else is going to have to come through. And you mentioned Karl-Anthony Towns. He cannot disappear. He cannot be a ghost. He's too damn big, 1. And then, 2, that's what you're here for, right? Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle are not here. You are here to be that guy, to be second in command. You were the other all-star starter, right? Like, him and Brunson were voted to the all-star team. Like, they got to be all-stars in the playoffs, both.
Yeah, I think Cat gets I don't know if it's exactly like he just becomes more of like not an alpha in the last few minutes, or if it's more of a Tibbs running set that aren't for him. Because from what I've seen in the last 30 seconds, last minute, I get a lot of Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson type of stuff. When I got Karl-Anthony Towns standing in the corner, and that comes on Tibbs. I get you say that Tibbs might not be at fault for this, but Tibbs in general is not a good X's and O's coach. Well, he's a culture builder. He has built a phenomenal culture. Don't get me wrong. His X's and O's, his strategy is not good. He has an under 500 record in the playoffs. And I feel like you have to take some accountability for that for yourself to this point now where we're basically going with, like I just said, the ISO ball, and then you lose games. That's what happens. And Karl-Anthony Towns standing in the corner, not doing anything, and you can't put it all on Brunson.
Yeah, I'll say this. You could schedule it that after Mikal Bridges was on the bench in the first game and Campaign got hot and he made that decision that they weren't going to go to the well again. Tonight, Bridges got going a little bit and had some points and saw some shots go through the hoop. And then late in the game, he's taking all the shots. They weren't going through. So I don't know, man. I think the coach is going to tell you, hey, he had open looks. It's the right play. It's the right shot. But I'm sitting in here with Marco. We're watching this. I'm like, Mikal Bridges can't be the guy taking the shot for me. He's the third or fourth guy taking the shot.
That's what it comes down to, Keith. And I feel like if I'm Cat personally right now, with how this has gone this season, if I'm in Cat's head, I'm like, what am I going to do here if I'm going to sign here long term? Because Tibbs does not use him correctly. And I get it. We like Tibbs. We love Tibbs. But, man, everyone has to start holding him accountable because this is not good. This team, talent-wise, has so much talent, and they are just not using it correctly. This is not where we should be basically losing the entire almost 8 quarters of games. You have a 20-0 run that helps you, propels you to a win in game 1. This cannot be going on right now, and I get it. I don't want to talk about Dante and Hartenstein, as great as they were. You have more talent this year. Tibbs has got to learn how to utilize it, and we cannot be having ISO Brunson basketball at the end of games. This is impossible. You're not going to win. You might win this series in 6, maybe. You're going to get swept by the Celtics or lose in 5 the next series. It's that simple, and I get it. Everyone loves Tibbs. I truly do. This has to come down to him now. You're the coach. You have to basically utilize your second best player, third team All-NBA guy, who is a very good player. And I don't want to hear people talking about how, I didn't want Cat. Cat has been a force all year. Cat has only taken 20 shots 2 or 3 times in the last month and a half. I can't deal with this anymore. Cat is a unselfish, almost to a fault type of player. And he's a good player. He's exactly what this team needs. You have to figure out how you put Brunson and him together like a Jokic and a Jamal Murray. They figured it out. I think you as a kid, as a coach, have to figure it out as well.
Yes, quickly. Thanks for the call, Dan. 888-808-1019. They can figure it out in a couple days. They'll be back on the floor Thursday. It is almost Tuesday. And I think I was talking about this upcoming schedule, how the Knicks, they're going to fly to Detroit tomorrow, I would assume, Tuesday, and get set up there, or maybe Wednesday. I don't know. Either way, it's like a long time to be in Michigan, especially when you need at least a game here. So they'll play Thursday at 7 p.m. I just saw Amon-Ra St. Brown, and this is what I'm talking about, how, it's Detroit versus everybody. From the Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown just posted on his Instagram, Thursday, 7 p.m., I'm there. So they might bring Slim Shady out. They might bring out T Grizzly. They might have Big Sean there, D12, Jello Ball. Like, I like all this type of stuff as a sports fan, especially like when cities come alive. And like, how great would it be for them to get all fired up and get all pumped up, and the Knicks come out and smack them 2 games, and then it's like, you did all that for nothing.
I want to see if Tibbs can make the adjustment. Because that's right. This loss right now, and I told you this earlier, the Knicks have gotten outplayed 7 out of 8 quarters so far. Minus that 4th quarter in game 1, they have been.
It's a fact. It's a scary fact.
Other quarter besides that one, and Tibbs has to adjust. I understand it's on the players, and you have to find a way to unlock, as the previous caller said, Karl Anthony Towns. Listen, if a player misses a wide open shot, there's really nothing a coach can do about that, right? Like, if Bridges just repeatedly misses shots, there's nothing a coach is going to do to change that except bench him. That's the only thing that a coach could do, and I don't think he's going to do that. So I am real interested to see all of the adjustments, and there will be a lot of them. And let me tell you, that place on Thursday night for Game 3 will be.
Yeah, it's going to be lit up. Good. I would go if I was a Knicks fan and I had time to go, and I would love to go see it. Right? You went to Philly last year for the Sixers series. I know that's just a hop, skip, and a jump down the turnpike. Some of y'all went to Indy, Detroit. Like I said, they're having a mini renaissance right now with their teams and with the city itself, and they're going to be on one. But that's the environment you want, is the playoffs. Like, I'm not even looking at Tibbs to adjust. I'm looking at Karl Anthony Towns to adjust, OG to adjust, right? This is going to be a stretch here where they're in Michigan. They better be icing up Jalen's ankle. I don't even know if he's icing at this point. Stem, doing some little band work, something to get that ankle loose and limber so it doesn't stiffen up. They need him to continue to drop 30 plus, but somebody else has to start. And it ain't Mikal Bridges, man. I'm sorry. Mikal Bridges is good as a role player. I saw it last year in Brooklyn and the year before. Like, he's not really like that when the lights are brightest. If nobody's paying attention, that's why I thought it was funny that he cares so much about Barclays Center being overrun by Knicks fans and not feeling like it's a home game. Like, bro, you play better when it's just a bunch of tourists and randoms and people not really looking at you. Like, people looking at you tonight in the Garden to hit those shots. You couldn't hit them. You couldn't come through. So I don't know if, I would learn from that. I don't know if I'm putting him in at crunch time, winning time, because they have been outplayed in every quarter except that one quarter, the 4th quarter on Saturday. You need your toughest out there. You need the guys that are just like ice in their veins, that are going to make shots, and that are going to make the right plays, because it's the playoffs, man. And now this young Detroit team, who does have some veterans, they have some confidence, and confidence is a scary thing. They're going to believe that they can do it. They're going to be back in their building. They're going to get home and all that. And this next stretch, right, it's Monday. The Knicks do not return back until Tuesday, April 29th. That's a long stretch to be in Michigan. And if things don't go, I don't know. 888-808-1019. We'll take more of your Knicks calls when we come back. Keep McPherson on the fan. Once we get to 12 and turn the page, we'll talk a little baseball. BRB. Yo.
I wanted to see how the Yankees were going to respond. I wanted to see, hey. No one has this.
All right. Let's clear my phone real quick. Diaz not the same since his injury. I'm going to talk about it. A lot of these relievers aren't looking the same. Devin Williams, Emmanuel Clase. It's tough to be lights out all the time, especially in the beginning of the year. Almost blew the game tonight. Yeah, but he didn't. Almost. Refs and umpires in all sports are so bad. I think it's done on purpose. Yeah, it is. With all the gambling, you need some type of human error, some type of human element to kind of balance it out, I guess. No pointing fingers at cheating for money or ratings, but just for a general uncertainty and chaos. I agree with Dan's call. Yeah, he was going in. I also think the Knicks should have gotten Precious in there for when it was physical. I think you start with him early. It's tough to put those guys in at the end of the game. You start with them early in the next one. All right. Reading my tweets. Haven't been on the Twitter machine. Hope the Knicks wake up. Knicks will win the next three just like in 2022, 2023. Knicks in 5. I'm still saying Knicks in 6. Detroit might get the next one. The first one in their building. Let me see. What time are these games? I don't like that Sunday at 1. It's whack. The Knicks need to get this next one. They need it. Reminds me of when they used to say Ray Ordonez was better than Jeter. Schmidt will be fine. Had a rough night. Let's hope Jazz can keep hitting. And Yanks will be fine. Tells Met fan bums to pipe down tonight. It's all Knicks. I need to like tilt this thing up. So I have this like thing for my screen, but it makes it mad shaky when I type on it. Let me see if this is better. Detroit pizza is the bomb. Never had it. Never had it. I'm looking at the like tweets under my like live video tweet. Some of these fans, bro, they crack me up. No sleep till Michigan. Keith McPherson on the fan, man. I'm looking at different things and I'm like, all right. Game 3 is 7 p.m. Thursday in Detroit. Knicks versus Pistons, round 1, yada, yada, yada. But then Sunday is game 4 at 1 o'clock. I don't like that 1 o'clock start. I don't like those day games. You don't know what you're going to get out of that, especially after being in Michigan for I don't know the Knicks flight plans, but I would assume that they're going to go home and sleep tonight. Most of them should already be in bed, sleep, rest, recover. And then tomorrow, do they need to fly out? I don't think they need to fly out on a Tuesday either. Somebody fill me in. I'll try and find this on the internet. I wouldn't even want to go to Michigan on a damn Tuesday and be there earlier. Wednesday, I would go. And then you play Wednesday. I would fly out like Wednesday during the day, get there. But I know they need to practice and stuff. When you want to practice here, what I'm getting at is that's just a long ass time to be in Michigan. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 5 days in Detroit, Michigan. I don't know. I've never been to Michigan. I'm not trying to go. 888-808-1019. Carmen is in Linden on the fan in New York.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, and thank you to your guy for getting me on quick. Keith, I'm a Villanova graduate. I'm a New York Knicks fan. I'm 76 years old. I've been a Knicks fan through all their downplay, all the embarrassment that we went through until the 3 Villanova boys came, and then we got the 4th one. We lost DiVincenzo. I've seen all these the Villanova guys, and I'm so proud of Brunson. But I have to say something. I almost put my fist through the TV tonight. Okay, I am embarrassed for my Knicks and for my Villanova guys for the game that they played. Now, I need to say a couple of things. The guy that was on, the guy before the guy, said everything absolutely correct. I'm not trying to be an expert, but I know what I'm saying. He's absolutely right in what he said. Tibbs, I love what Tibbs did. He brought the Knicks back to respectability. Well, Brunson did it. Nobody thought that he would do it. But Tibbs coached him to that point to bring him back to respectability. Okay. I agree with all that. These 2 games, the 4th quarter on Saturday, if they didn't have that 22-point run, they would have lost all 4 quarters, okay? And basically, they didn't even play until the 4th quarter tonight. They were out-rebounded by 25 rebounds, and everybody looked like disinterested. I don't know what I'm sorry to be yelling. I am so disgusted with the way they look tonight. And I'll say a couple final things. Yes, they're going to Detroit. Not only the fact that they're going to be in Detroit for 5 days, but these Detroit fans are going to be really psyched out. And our Knicks were outplayed for basically two full games. They were outplayed. I know Brunson had his 30 points each game, 32 and 34, whatever. They were tremendously out-rebounded. I think that Tibbs, even though he did a lot to bring him to respectability, is not an X's and O's coach. He had no X's and O's moves tonight except to make, and I watched, I'm so aggravated that I can't even think of a name that I know by heart.
Mikal Bridges. Karl Anthony Towns.
Exactly. He had Bridges taking shots. He had no X's and O's plays set up. There's something wrong with the way the coaching is being done. Also, there's something wrong with the way they're playing. They are much more talented than Detroit, and they embarrassed themselves.
Thanks for the call, Carmen. I just don't want y'all going too far down that like finite, like the one loss, they embarrass themselves, they can't do this, the coach is not X and O's, he didn't have anything drawn up. It's just the way that the cookie crumbles, man. Mikal Bridges had open looks. They had some opportunities down the stretch. It just did not go their way. What I will say to you, Carmen, are two things. You are 100% correct, and we've been talking about them getting outplayed every quarter. It's not a bold strategy. I don't think it's a strategy. I think what it is it's just you're seeing who's more dominant. You're seeing who's more physical, who's better rebounding. And that's not going to last long. Or if that lasts any longer, the next season's not going to last that much longer. And then also you being a Villanova guy, it's crazy. But like this season, there's going to be a ton of talk about what could have been because we never actually got to see Julius Randle play with the foursome of Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, and Mikal Bridges. That was the whole excitement. Oh, we got these guys together that won a championship in college. Like, oh, that is a way to kind of cheat the chemistry thing, right? It takes years to develop chemistry. Well, boom, we've got guys that have been with each other since they were 18, 19, 20-year-olds. That's our way to kind of cut the chemistry line. Now you're looking at a team with guys where in crunch time, do they have that synergy, that chemistry? Do they know where the next guy is going to be? I don't know. I think they'll have to figure that out very fast in the next week. 888-808-1019. It's already 12, so we're about to turn the page to April 22nd and Tuesday. But stay on hold. If you're a Knicks fan on hold, I'm going to get to you guys. I'm just going to sprinkle in some topics for the Met fan and for the Yankee fan listening to the fan tonight. This is Keith McPherson, your nighttime host. I'll say good morning on the other side. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. Yeah, man. So I got to sprinkle in some stuff with the Yankees and the Mets. But I'm tired. I've been up since like 6:15, 6:30. I took a little nap, but it's still like don't matter. It's a long ass day. Regardless. When you go from the weekend into Monday and when you got a kid, like my son starts moving at like 6:15, 6:30. I hear him in the baby cam and I'm like, should I go get this dude? And my wife texted me last night in the middle of the night and she goes like, I can't sleep. Basically saying she couldn't sleep at 1:48 a.m. I'm going to try and sleep in a little later. So since I'm there, I'm like, I got you. And I texted her that at 5 a.m. So I'm up at 5 a.m. I said, I got you. And then my son starts moving around. And so then the cat starts moving around. And then the light, in the house is coming in. So I've been really up since like 6. This is my boy sleep right now. The baby cam. Now, technology, you can watch. You could see what's going on from home. But yeah, it'd be long days doing the night shift and my morning starting when my family starts to get up. Even now we're about to turn to 12. Um, I'll go home. I'll try to sleep from like 3 to 6 or 7, and then we do it all over again. But yeah, let's see what y'all saying in the chat. Um, Hoboken Pizza's the bomb. My guys at Mario's Pizza, and then there's this other spot that I go to. I forget the name of. The Knicks don't need to do anything but lay down and die on the sword. I had the frozen Detroit pizza from Walmart on Long Island. Yeah, I never had that. I haven't been to Walmart in a long time now. Keith, love that you let your followers talk about all different topics. Yeah, because as sports fans, like I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm holding court for the Knicks fans. But like I know now, right? I got 2 more hours to go. All right, let's sprinkle in some topics around the Mets and around the Yankees, and we'll start filtering in those calls. Benny Tadino's, I've been in there. Slices are unbelievable. Yeah, I've been there. I think everybody's been over there. But I know the guys at Mario's Pizza, Mario's Classic Pizza, and there's this other spot. I forget the name of. It's like in a little like shack, and the pizza over there is incredible. I forget the name. It's like walking distance from my crib too. But it's really good. Let's see. John from Maxbeth, what's up? What's good, man? How long have you been going off 4 hours of sleep? Was this before you had the kid? Nah, before I had my son and I was doing the job, honestly, like my wife was really courteous about like, and we lived in a different place, but she was really courteous about like getting up and being quiet, where I could sleep like 3 a.m. to 10 a.m. My son is 2. So coming up in like June, it'll be 2 years since I went back to work having a little one in my house. I don't know. I was just thinking like I'm about to be a year older, and I'm crazy about like my fitness and like trying to like defy father time. And I'm like, yo, something with all my research and like even the working out and eating I'm doing, they're all like, you need to get like 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And I'm like, continuously, maybe one day a week do I get that. But I'm not complaining. Sleep when you're dead. And when I was broke, I had time to sleep. When I was broke, I didn't have a kid. Like, I said something to my wife recently, like when my son turning 2 and even doing taxes and stuff. I'm like, I have no idea what this kid costs, and I don't want to know. I'm like, he's priceless, is invaluable. But like, it's funny when you make the decision to have a kid because you feel financially like you can. Like, I don't know, honestly, like I've been with my wife for years. We lived together for like 6 years before we actually had our first kid, maybe even longer. Like, yeah, like 6, 7 years. But now when I'm coming up short, I know why I'm coming up short. Like, I got a whole person and a whole little dude that I got to take care of, but worth it, worth every dollar and every hour of non-sleep.
Good morning. At 12 o'clock, I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Morristown. Knicks rallied from 15 down, but unlike in Game 1, unable to seal the deal. Dennis Schroeder put it on ice. He had 20 off the bench, including the go-ahead 3 with under a minute remaining. Pistons handled the Knicks 194 as Mikal Bridges missed that game-tying 3. He had 19 in all. Mike Breen, the call MSG. Cade Cunningham, 33. Jalen Brunson led the Knicks with 37, but plenty of bickering throughout, especially with the Pistons shooting 34 free throws in the Knicks 19, including 14-2 in the first half. Just 10 each for Karl Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby as the series is even at 1, Game 3 in Detroit Thursday night. Right now, you got the Clippers and the Nuggets even at 79 early in the fourth quarter. Of course, Denver leads the series 1-0. Francisco Lindor went deep twice, knocked in 3. Jesse Winker also homered. Mets survived the Phillies 5-4. Tyler McGill struck out 10 over 5 1/3 scoreless innings of one-hit baseball. The Guardians raced the Yankees 6-4. Jose Ramirez homer drove in 4. Clark Schmidt giving up 5 runs in 4 innings, his second start of the season. 54 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park. That's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello. 888-808-1019. I've got 2 hours here to continue talking about New York sports, specifically the New York Knicks, but soon to be followed up by the New York Mets, and maybe a little bit about the Yankees. I really don't want to go back to the weekend. I talked about, stupid Judge Homer not being a homer. And how the guy that hits all the homers, if he homers, I'm just going to call it a homer in real time, but whatever. Talked about the official score taking his time and whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm really more upset with the officiating as a whole from the Tampa series and the fact that it was in Tampa. Like, it just irked me as a Yankee fan watching them at George M. Steinbrenner Field, where we've watched spring training since, I don't know, forever, since I was a kid. And the Yankees are in the road grays. They're not batting in the bottom of the inning, and they get walked off. And it's just, it kind of reminded me of 2020 when the Mets walked off the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. I'm like, this is not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to ever happen. But here we are. 888-808-1019. Shame on you, Major League Baseball. Shame on you for having the A's playing in Sacramento in an actual minor league ballpark, and the Rays Airbnb-ing the spring training ballpark of the Yankees, and then costing the Yankees, I don't know. It's just the whole series was whack as hell. Devin Williams, I'm not quitting on him. I'm not demoting him, but it's not good enough, bro. They put you in so many soft landing spots. Here you go, man, 4-run lead. And you find a way to screw it up, and you obviously had some help, but, like, if this guy's supposed to be swing and miss with an airbender pitch and all this other stuff, and he returns back to the spot that they made him shave, and I had bad vibes. I was literally drafting a, like, Yankees win, tell everyone tweet, and I started to erase it because I'm like, wait, we can't act like now Devin Williams is in a flow and a rhythm and gonna just Nope. Some soft contact, some borderline strikes and balls, and that's again going to the umping crew, the umpire crew. They're whack. I need that automatic balls and strike system ASAP, ABS ASAP. And for the Mets, for Met fans, and I know Met fans don't want to talk to me, and I love that for me. And I know Mets fans have painted me out to be the number one Met hater and Met troll and all that, and that's great. It literally warms my heart. Young Keith is like, yes, like I grew up to be somebody that Met fans don't like. Like, how did I pull that off? But what I try to relay on the radio is like, online and on air are two different things. Online, if no Mets fans want me to be objective, if no fans want my analysis on the Mets, I can't even tweet about the Mets without someone being like, yo, mind your business. Yo, rent free. Yo, you're coping. I'm like, oh, I'm a New York City talk show host. I'm literally on the Fan. This is my 4th year. Like, I've had to watch the Mets and talk about the Mets, and I'm really impressed. And I don't care that, I don't care if you want to hear from me or not, or whether you think this is like, I'm really impressed with the Mets. I don't know what the hell goes on in that pitching lab, but look at Tyler McGill. Look at all these guys coming out of the pitching lab. I was reading the stat as I was putting together show notes, and if you don't follow OptaStats on Twitter, you should. They'll give you some stuff like this. The Mets are the first team in the modern era since 1901 to have their starting pitchers allow fewer than 15 runs, 13 runs allowed, and no homers in their first 11 home games of a season. Now, like, I'm a New Yorker. I've been here for about a decade. I've told you that I've been to Dodger Stadium more than I've been to Citi Field because I'm a Yankee fan. And like every time I drive to Queens, I'm in traffic regretting it. Every time I've taken a train to Queens, I'm on the train regretting it because I'm coming from Jersey. But I have seen Citi Field, like just the difference from last year to this year. You know, Gary Cohen is on the call talking about this is rock bottom. It's an empty ballpark, bad weather. The Mets are losing. They're getting embarrassed. The difference a year makes. When you make a run to the NLCS and your fans start to think and dream about a World Series, better yet, a Subway Series, and you come up just short, but the team that beat you goes on to win it, you start to get this fan base that is believing. What's the moniker of the Mets? You got to believe. And as Steve Cohen goes out and signs a $765 million player and does other things like Clay Holmes or, just other little additions, decide, whatever. David Stearns deserves a ton of credit. Steve Cohen deserves a ton of credit. I know this is year like 4 or 5 of Steve Cohen and year 2 of David Stearns, but immediately you're seeing success. The end of the LOL Mets. The place is packed. And they're responding to positive energy, standing ovations, to the place looking like it looked in the postseason. They are giving you reason to go to the ballpark, right? Because I've made fun of the gimmicks, the 5-borough race, the dance crew, certain giveaways and food items, and every gimmick under the sun to sell tickets. And when I had that take that, went semi-viral, people were just like, this guy's a Mets hater. No, what I was leaning on is that the Yankees, they don't have to. I mean, they will have bobbleheads and Jazz Chisholm jerseys and, I'll see you at hockey jersey night. But, like, the Yankees are going to sell tickets and draw because they're the Yankees. The brand is already built. The Mets brand had to rebrand and be reestablished, and it really didn't take that long. When you have good players, when you have a good manager, Carlos Mendoza deserves credit as well. When you have guys like Jeremy Hefner, when you have guys leading the team like Francisco Lindor, and then other role players coming along, whether it's a Jesse Winker. Don't forget about Pete Alonso, who's been huge this year, which I was in on Pete Alonso having a huge year because he got to do it last year and failed. And once they paid Pete, he's been money. So I can take off my Yankee hater hat, and it's really not. I don't hate the Mets. I dropped that Paulie made. I don't hate the Mets. These are my Mets. I've never followed and watched and kept up with a Mets team over these last 4 seasons than any 4 seasons in my life. I've watched more Mets games in the last 4 years than I did from birth to now. You know what I'm saying? So I've watched this. I've seen how they've gotten here. And you'd be a hater to not respect it. Of course I respect it. I'm a baseball fan. I think they'd be a bigger story if they weren't the Mets. No shade. You understand what I'm saying, though. Like, they're one of the better teams in baseball to start this early season, and they did get to the NLCS, and they did have a historic run to the National League Championship Series last year. And, don't look now. They're better. Their bullpen is better. Their starting rotation is better. Oh, and also don't look now. Help is on the way. Francisco Alvarez, Jeff McNeil, Deadneil Nunez. They're going to add at the deadline, too. So for the Met fan, celebrate, hold your head high, not too high though, because you can't point out the attendance and then look at the Yankee fan because the Yankee Stadium attendance is obviously the capacity is higher, but the Yankees are pulling in what the Mets are pulling in, right? I think Tommy put out what the Mets attendance was on Saturday. It's 80 degrees. And was the Mets are big brother. And that's another thing, too. I'm so done with the big brother back and forth. Wasn't it fun, Yankee fans, to make fun of Juan Soto for a week? Now he's broken out of it. The baseball gods gave us that, right? Could you imagine if it was the other way around? The Mets are winning and Juan Soto is having walk-off homers like Lindor and, lead-off homers like Lindor had today. And no, Juan Soto is out of it, though. Juan Soto is going to be Juan Soto. And I just – I don't mind it. This town is big enough for the both of us. It is better for business. I remember reading the article on air about how the New York economy, they're expecting $990 million to hit during this baseball season. between the attraction that Citi Field and Yankee Stadium is going to be for the whole world. People from across the world coming here to watch the Mets play whoever and the Yankees to play whoever. And I cannot wait until we get to May 16th, 17th, and 18th in the Bronx. And if the Mets sweep the Yankees, so be it. If the Yankees sweep the Mets, so be it. It doesn't matter. It is good for business. It's good for WFAN. It's good for the economy. It's good for us as fans. The football teams are trash. And now we'll go back to the phones and talk about the basketball team, who, not for nothing, lost, but like they didn't lose the series. And most people expect, even if they do survive this series, they'll lose the next series. But let's stay where we are here. They head to Detroit. The series is even, 1-1. They didn't have it in this game. They didn't have it at the end like they had in the first game, but they got to figure it out fast. Mark is in Sleepy Hollow on the Fan. Go for it, Mark. Good.
Was a great coach, but he needs to start trusting more people. He has a tendency of just playing the same 7 guys. And I think he has guys on the bench who are chomping at the bit who want to play. And if he's that good of a coach, they should know the system and know what they're doing and give guys like Cat and Brunson, who have been taking too many minutes, a little bit more time.
Yeah, I would expect to see some different guys. I would expect to see some different looks.
And we have yet to beat the Celtics or Cleveland. So, like, it's time to try something new. We need to put different guys on the floor. We need to have Brunson be fresher at the end of the game, Cat be fresher at the end of the game. And you know what? Cat is not Patrick Ewing. He's never going to be Patrick Ewing. So, we don't have that guy. He's just going to dominate down the side. But we need people who are fresh and ready to go and know what they're doing and putting all their power into what they're doing at that moment. That way that when Brunson's on the court at the end of the game, he's not struggling with his sprained ankle. And Cat's not tired. And these guys can finish the game while the other guys pick up the slack in the middle of the game.
Thanks for the call, Mark. I think you will see that it's a 7-game series. Don't show your hand in the first 2 games. The way that the first game played out with campaign, great. But I already knew they weren't going to try and go back to the well. Now, what other tricks does Tibbs have up his sleeve? He's definitely a better coach than JB Bickerstaff. But there are other things that you can't coach and you can't control. So we shall see. I wouldn't quit on him yet. As I'm looking at it, like I said, the Knicks have to go get that first game in Detroit to send a message, because it's tougher to get up for a 1 o'clock start. You know what I'm saying? So like you're in Michigan for all these days and nights, and like that's the getaway day on Sunday. You get up in the morning, 7, 8 in the morning. By the time you get there, like, I don't know. I just think like the battery is really going to be in their back in the city. These guys are going to have to stay in that hotel. And even the hotel is not safe. Historically, we know how it goes with fire alarms. We know how, hell, the Yankees were just out there. Cody Bellinger ate some bad wings. Do not, they got to send a memo to the Knicks. Do not order room service, even if they are in a different hotel. Bobby's in Belmore on the Fan next. What's up, Bobby?
Well, quick things, Keith. How you doing? Good evening. Number one, Tim's not BSing about the foul calls. The more aggressive team, as everybody knows, gets the foul calls. You out rebound, the more aggressive team gets them. Number two, if you don't win game 3, you're in a lot of trouble for 2 reasons. Number one, you're going to have to win game 4, and we have to win game 7, because I don't think the Knicks are going to beat them 3 in a row. They're down 2-1. So those are going to be 2 pressure games, and with Towns potty in the corner, instead of they go about, he hasn't scored, but he only got 6 rebounds. That's a joke. Okay, DiVincenzo got 5 rebounds and played like an animal. From that, I see Randall aggressive. Number 3, speaking of disappearing, I don't understand why Payne wasn't in there. I hear played 4 minutes. I don't even take any shots. But at least on the fourth quarter, I'd like to think, if he gets hot, great. If he's not, you sit him down. I don't understand why he wasn't in there. And,
why he wasn't in the fourth tonight?
Right.
Because Mikal Bridges was having a better game. And like I said, they weren't going back to the well thinking that lightning could strike twice.
Well, maybe they should, because Bridges went 0 for 4. Now, at least Bridges shot the ball, unlike Towns, who was afraid to shoot the ball, didn't rebound. I mean, he disappeared in some of those Minnesota games against Dallas last year, so I'm not surprised. and people are worried about this. And why not? I don't understand. Why is he hiding? He should be down low. If you're not going to shoot, at least try to get rebounds. And you got killed on the boards. I mean, by 14. So I mean, and I don't want to hear. They're going to keep getting the calls, Detroit, because they're a more aggressive team, especially when you're going out back to Detroit. Those fans, they better win their game, like you said, to get 1:00 start on Sunday. But they have to face the game for must game, and it's going to go to 7 minimum because they're not going 3-0, and they go home. Even if it's in the Garden, there'll be so much pressure. You trust Towns and you trust Bridges in a game 7. I just think it's they got to win game 3, and in order to do that, they better be more aggressive because this defense has been bad the whole year, and that 3-on by Schroeder just was a symbol of what was been going on. How can you alone?
They've done it all year, and I mean the Pistons didn't shoot great from 3, but
they're the worst defensive 3-point shooting team in the league, or one of the worst. The Knicks, and it bit them ahead, what today. So it's to continue to do it. Detroit by shooting the threes, and anything Tibbs is going to complain about the referees now. Wait till they get back to Detroit. They're going to get those fans are going to be going nuts over there.
Yeah. Let's see what happens, Bobby. Thanks for the call. Like, they heard Tibbs and what he had to say. And like sometimes it can go in your favor, sometimes it can work against you. 888-808-1019. Trying to go back to that. He said, I really don't give a crap how they call the game as long as it's consistent. Right? Because he felt like Cunningham was getting the calls that Brunson wasn't. So when you put that out there, sometimes you send a message where they heed that message and okay, they'll be looking for stuff. Sometimes they'll hear that and be like, that's not on us. We call them what we see. And when you get into Detroit, into their building, they're going to have maybe a little bit of the upper hand, but like game 3 is it. I think if you lose game 3, like it became a series last night with the loss in the Garden. You lose game 3, the series tilts in favor of Detroit because they could come back to the Garden potentially up 3-1. And I've been saying Knicks in 6. For it to be Knicks in 6, the Knicks got to split here. They got to take that third game. I don't know if they're taking that Sunday game. And then maybe they win in the Garden and they go back to Detroit and end it there and you don't need 7. But where does that come from? Call me up and tell me what has to change. Obviously, if you go back to the first game, you need guys to score over 20 points like OG, like Cat, and you also need guys to rebound and come up with timely steals. You got to turn the ball over from these guys. You got to take the ball from them, whether it's taking it out of the air or taking it out of their hands. Jalen in Brooklyn on the Fan next. Go for it, Jalen.
Yeah, what's up, Keith?
What's up?
Hey, Keith.
Yeah.
So do you think they should put in PJ Tucker just to rough up Isaiah Stewart if he gets a little aggressive?
I think it's just a look. I think you show it to him early in the game. You try to send a message, set a tone, even with Precious Achiuwa. Even getting ready for this series, we heard that Ariel Huck-Porty was back, and I didn't think he was going to be back for the rest of the year, but trying to come back, he was questionable. Maybe you got to throw in a couple of those guys just to mix it up, just to talk trash, just to kind of, bump a guy, shoulder a guy, foul a guy to be like, yo, we're not about to let y'all have your way.
That's what DiVincenzo was here for, and you just saw the fight he had like 2 weeks ago.
And how funny is it that fight broke out between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Detroit Pistons, and it was DiVincenzo right in the middle of it.
Yep. And so also, I want to see Cam Payne, even though he had early foul trouble today, but I want to see him in there more just for the energy, and especially in MSG. I don't know about in Detroit, but in MSG, he brings a lot of energy. We saw last year in the Sixers series also, he brought tons of energy. So I just want to see him on there. He makes faces, he hypes up the crowd. It's just good for...
Yeah, he's like that too. Like, I don't think Mikal Bridges is like that. Cam Payne is like that. They both played on that Suns team that went to the finals.
Keith, I've watched, besides for Friday night since I'm Orthodox Jew, but I watched every single Knicks game for the past 3 years. Mikal Bridges is one of the most up and down players I've seen on the Knicks.
Yeah, you don't. I didn't feel it tonight. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I literally am asking, why is he shooting? Why is he shooting? Because he's Mikal Bridges, Iron Man, they traded 5 picks for me, but I'm like, you're not like that, bro. Pass the ball. Like, even if you have an open look, I think everybody rather go down with Brunson missing the shot or Karl-Anthony Towns missing the shot than you missing the shot. And he knew that. That's why he was sitting there on the bench chewing his mouthpiece like, damn.
Who would you rather take that shot, him or Josh Hart?
I mean, Mikal Bridges is a better shooter, but Josh Hart, I've seen him hit those shots in the playoffs. Mikal Bridges had to change his form going into this year. He had to change his shot. See, he's thinking too much.
I don't know. I think everyone has to settle down a little bit. Just chill. It's one game. This is how the playoffs are. It's aggressive. I agree with Tom Fielder. I think Josh Hart should have gone up there, or next game if you have the same thing. Even if you win, just go up there after post game and just blow your mouth off.
Thanks for the call, Jalen. I don't know what blow your mouth off means. Did you catch that, Fleeks? I don't know. It's like go up there and blow your mouth off. I don't know. Kids say the darndest things. Kids these days. I'm trying to keep up with the slang and the lingo, but I ain't heard of that one. Blow your mouth off. Kanye West probably thinking about blowing his mouth off. 888-808-1019. Charles is in Allenhurst, New Jersey. Charles, you got it.
Oh, what up, man? Listen, man, this Knicks team, disappointed in the loss tonight. I've got to say one thing. You are not the 2024 Mets, bro. You are not going to be coming back, being down in the game until the very end. You're not going to be doing that, dude. And this is a team that is worse than you. You're playing down to the competition. I understand that they're a young team with a lot of motivation. They're hungry. This is a team that hasn't won, as we saw, a playoff game since 2008, whatever it is. But you got to go out there knowing you're the more talented team and taking care of business. I don't want to hear anymore that, Karl-Anthony Towns not shooting a basketball the final 17 minutes of the game. Mikal Bridges not being able to connect some three-point range, especially when it matters late in the game there. Don't want to hear about it. Because when Karl-Anthony Towns, he doesn't provide anything on defense. When he's not shooting the basketball, what does he bring to the game? He brings nothing.
In that first game, bro, he was able to rebound and get steals that came up huge. They can't be the make it happen Mets. They're not the make it happen Knicks as far as coming from behind like they did in that first game. They need to get a lead. They need to establish some kind of dominance. We haven't seen that yet.
100%. And they're way too talented to sit here and be playing, basically seesaw with this Pistons team all the way until the third quarter, where it feels like last night, or to be a Saturday night, when the Pistons had a little bit of a lead going into the fourth. You're not going to go on a 21-0 run. That's like scoring. I'll bring another baseball analogy. It's like being down, like whatever it is, 4-2 in the eighth and scoring like
being down 8-4 in the ninth at George M. Steinbrenner Field, and Devin Williams, the best closer in the game, comes in the game. You're not supposed to win that game.
With Devin Williams taking them out, you never know.
Yeah, man. But yeah, they got to get out the lead early, and they got to get off to a hot start, because they're not going to be able to keep coming back, especially with the environment's going to be electric up there in Detroit.
Of course. Thanks for the call, Charles, and that leads me into what I'm thinking about now. I'm not a Knicks fan, but I have been to the Garden a bunch of times, and I've been to playoff games. And, as you hear dun, 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 the accordion playing, and, whether it's Biggie or whether it was like hip-hop music that plays and like the vibes in there, the go New York, go New York, go. It is an environment that I think these guys lean into and play into, good and bad. I think the special air that they pump in there, it fills these guys' heads up. Where, they're thinking they're going to come back. They think that they can make the plays. They think that they're the better team. Well, the Pistons think that they're the better team. And now, after they took one in the Garden, they feel like they have the advantage going back to their place for the next two. So maybe the Knicks need to feel that. Maybe they need to feel a young team with a fan base that is starving for this. And they go to a city like Detroit, and people are heckling them. And there's less Knicks fans and celebrities, every actor and rapper and former player all around the baseline, all around, the bench area. Like, maybe they need to go to Detroit where it's grittier, Maybe they need to go to Detroit away from Madison Square Garden and the watch parties outside and the whole city behind them. And maybe they need to feel like, desperate. Maybe they need to feel like, okay, they're going to call for our coach's head if we don't win. Turn it on. Fight. Because I didn't see them turn on the fight that they were supposed to turn on in that game. Even in the fourth quarter where they were able to tie it up. They didn't fight to finish it. Wasn't good enough for me. I'm sitting in here and I'm like, well, that just changed the whole show. Because if you go up 2-0, I thought they were about to steal another one in the fourth quarter and go up 2-0, where I'm like, oh, book it. It's done. It's wraps. They can go back to Cleveland and lose two. Or Cleveland. Go back to Detroit and lose the next two and still, have an advantage here. So I don't know, man. Let's take a break here. I do want to talk baseball. I do want to talk Yankees. If you want to talk about Clark Schmidt, if you want to talk about Jason Dominguez, Embrace the Martian, Jazz Chisholm, he's got 7 homers. He's tied with Judge, even though he's striking out a ton. We can talk about the Yankees pitching. We'll talk about the Yankees lineup. Some guys struggling in the Yankees lineup. Some guys like Paul Goldschmidt, great. Trent Grisham, love to have him. And then for the Mets too, and the Met fan, like everything is just turning up roses for the Mets. Everything is great for the Mets right now. 5-game win streak. The Philadelphia Phillies, they battled late in the 9th inning. We could talk about Edwin Diaz if you guys aren't feeling him. But something I'll say before we break here about Edwin Diaz, he's not alone, right? Emmanuel Clase, struggling this year. Devin Williams, struggling this year. Like some of these top flight closers are not really looking like themselves in the first month of the season here. So don't quit on Edwin Diaz just yet, especially when you have a bullpen full of a bunch of other guys that get it done. They were able to get to Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola's another guy that I don't know what the hell happened to him. He's been getting rocked. He's been giving up hits and runs, and he hasn't found it yet in this early on. And a couple solo shots from Lindor and Winker, and then I knew the Mets weren't going to lose that game. I knew that their bullpen was good enough to hold, and they tack on some runs. And yeah, we'll talk more about the Mets and the Yankees if you would indulge me. 888-808-1019. But if you're on hold to talk Knicks, I'm going to get to you. The Knicks lose last night. The series is even 1-1. And they go back to Detroit, and they have to take game 3. The way it's looking to me, you got to take that one. Because if you go down 3-1 coming back to the Garden, you're fighting for your life. And you've already been fighting for your life in pretty much every quarter of this first 2 games. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Stay with me. I'm rocking till 2 a.m. I'll be right back after this. Yo, what's up, please? Once we get into some baseball conversation, I'd like to do a big shot segment. Maybe at 1. Other than that, just taking these calls because you understand, like a playoff game, there's a bunch of people with thoughts and opinions, and I don't know. We played audio. I think there's pretty smooth sailing the rest of the way. Okay. We played the whole Tom Thibodeau 4.5 minutes or whatever it was. Nothing from any of the players. Okay, and I'll go see if there's anything coming from like Lindor or the Mets or Mendoza. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it never sounds good with the stuff in the background over the radio. All right, so talking to Fleegs about just like next 90 minutes. Let me see. In the chat. Life will start to change as time goes by. You'll get back to regular sleep. Oh, I know it. This I'm not long for this. Wait, who is that talking? Whoever was on the call. So what I do here is let me see if I can show you this. See these buttons here? This is the caller audio. This is the main audio. And I just turn up the...
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
So eventually that will change. Eventually I will run the true audio into this MacBook, but I don't want to buy the hardware. I want to find software that I can feed the stereo into the headphone jack, and then some type of digital software that can change that audio into a mic input and then put that into StreamYard, and I can use it as a mic, but it isn't as simple as it sounds. What you are going through is temporary. Facts. If anybody knows it, it's me. I have done so many things to get to this point that were temporary, that were hard, or that I hated, or that I just like was like, when will this end? It's all everything is a means to an end. Everything is a stepping stone. Like, I am extremely driven and hardworking, and like see myself doing more and bigger things, but I've grown patient to understand like I'm on the mic right now. Like, well, not right now, but like I am a New York City radio host. I earned that. This is New York. There are thousands of people listening, hundreds of thousands of people listening in the city that never sleeps. So like being on air in New York at 12:30 in the morning isn't like being in Missouri. Like you guys, I've had a ton of calls, and even in the chat, I've had a ton of activity in the chat. So it's like a small sacrifice to sacrifice my sleep, but in 4 years, this has changed my life tremendously. Like being able to share my personality, my background, my sports knowledge, my opinions, my takes, whether people like them or don't like them, whether people think I'm good or not, like just being visible and being out here, it has changed my life ridiculously. So what I'm going through with the sleep stuff and working the night shift, it is temporary. It ain't even been that long. Michael Porter Jr., yeah, I like MPJ, but Russell Westbrook makes me want to root for LA versus Denver. The Western Conference playoffs aren't interesting to me. Nah, I'd rather see Denver. The Clippers are whack. And I don't know. I kind of want the Lakers in 5. I want to see the Lakers come back, but I don't know if they're going to be. Isn't a part of your job to talk about the Mets as well? And I've been trying to tell these people. They get so mad online when I start talking about the Mets. That's the job. All of us do. All right. Some no. All right, we're back. 888-808-1019. We're going to start talking more baseball. Lindor in the Mets. Tylor in the Mets. Tyrone in the Mets. I don't know who else from the Mets. Max Kranick, Edwin Diaz. How about Reed Garrett? I was listening to the game about, I can't remember the stat. I think happy birthday to Keith Rad. I think it was his birthday on the call with Howie Rose yesterday. But they had a stat about how Reed Garrett has come in, I think almost every time with inherited runners, and he's given up nada. So there's a Reed Garrett stat going on about how this guy has had traffic on the base paths, always gets out of it. Doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. In Hefner's laboratory. I want to know what's going on. I need Matt Blake to get some of that info for the Yankees, you know? I need some help, man. I need Devin Williams to go to Jeremy Hefner's laboratory just for a day or two and come back, right? These guys are having like Tyler McGill had his career high 10 strikeouts. Clay Holmes had that like last week. These guys coming out of the bullpen are lights out. Edwin Diaz, not for nothing, yo. Edwin Diaz has always kind of been like, he had 1 year where he was unhittable, where he was lights out, where Buck Showalter could use him in the 8th inning, whatever. But he's always been a little bit of an adventure. I don't think you could trust him. But what I said before was, hey, he's not alone. Emmanuel Clase does not look the same. As much as people want to say that Pete Alonso broke Devin Williams, then the Yankees broke Emmanuel Clase. Judge and Stanton, and I don't think Juan Soto got anything off, but Judge and Stanton did. So, yeah, the Yankees broke Emmanuel Clase. 888-808-1019. The Knicks aren't broken. I know you guys want to throw them away. And it's tough because, like, you don't see a way for them to rock with the Celtics. You don't see a way for them to overcome the second-round opponent that they're going to face. And so, sometimes it's like, what's the use? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. The ultimate end is going to end at the hands of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis. But I look at this series as like, this is a can't-lose series for the Knicks. The Pistons can lose it. The Pistons can win this one game in the series, and their fans are going to be like, yup, good enough. It's been years. Knicks can't lose it because there's a good chance that, like, again, as I've been saying, every year you tweak this team. Every year we see a different machination of the Knicks. Okay, there will become a time where they start to deteriorate and take a step back. And if they lose with this machination, I don't know exactly what that definition of that word is. If this iteration, this version of the Knicks, after going to the second round, you lose to the Hawks, skip a year, you lose to the Heat, you lose to the Pacers in the second round. If this year they get bounced in the first round, then that will be enough for talking heads, radio hosts, analysts, fans, podcasters to all scream, the head coach has got to go. And these guys, they don't want to see that. Your captain is a Tibbs guy. Josh Hart, even though they've had some back and forth, he's definitely a Tibbs guy. He's played his best basketball, his most minutes under Tibbs. Karl Anthony Towns, probably a Tibbs guy as well. I don't know about Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges probably checked him on the minutes thing and checked him on his own minutes. 888-808-1019. Let's go to Avery out in St. Louis on the Fan in New York. I'm good, man. How you doing out there?
I'm all right. Wrapping up. So, as everybody's saying so accurately, absolutely, if you lose game 3, the hole that they're going to find themselves in and the confidence difference that's going to be present between the two teams is going to make it so difficult, I dare say impossible, for the Knicks to come back and win this series. So game 3 is as much of a must-win game as there is. And one of the biggest talking points coming into the series was the idea of mental toughness. And mental toughness can be, it can have many definitions. It's one of those things, right? It's one of those terms that have so many definitions. In this case, I don't believe that the Knicks are being, or that anything that Detroit can say can phase the Knicks. I just don't believe that. But I do know that this team does not have the same identity as last year's team. I'm not throwing them away. It's just something that we just know that's the situation. That's been the situation all year long. That's been the talking point.
You're gonna long for that team, and I kind of hate that they did this, but they had to do it because Mitch was hurt and Jericho Sims was not it, and they needed a big, and supposedly they were looking at a Karl Anthony Towns trade for a minute. But you are going to long for that team that we saw in January of 2024. That team that we saw when they added OG Anunoby and Randall was still healthy and Dante was playing, like iHeart was there. You're going to long for that team because you'll never know what they could have been. You never got to see them. Like, they made that trade and you never got to see it materialize with all 4 of the Villanova guys, Julius Randle, and then iHeart obviously took the most money that he could get. OKC is a great team to join, and because of the apron, you couldn't pay him. But yeah, you'll always think about what could have been, and that sucks.
I'm pretty sure there was a point in the game where Mike Breen said on the MSG call that there was a ball that hit Fat Joe. As soon as Fat Joe's face was on the camera, I knew the game was over.
Oh my God. You're not the only one. So I missed that. I think that might have happened while I was driving in, but I saw a bunch of people because some people know I'm connected to Fat Joe. Some people don't. Some people in my chat were even like, it's the Fat Joe curse. It's Fat Joe. Why is Fat Joe? And I'm like, oh, come on. Like, Fat Joe doesn't deserve all this.
No, but in all seriousness, not related to Fat Joe. The whole question about the whole idea of this Villanova Knicks that could have been team, in my opinion, I don't really
understand a part of it. Like on one hand, yes, I'm making the argument that this team doesn't have the same identity as the one that they had last year. But I don't feel like Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle leaving are the reason that this team's not as mentally tough. I just think that they hold themselves to a different standard this year, so they don't have to be as scrappy. Whereas the Pistons are kind of like the Knicks of a few years ago that had to be scrappy to win. It's just like, I feel like they're looking at an older version, or they are looking at themselves as what they used to have to be, and they don't know how to contend with it because it's a tough thing to deal with when a team is pesky and a team.
Well, man, the identity of that team last year was like a group of guys that nobody wanted at first. They were all like underdogs. They were all guys that were skipped over. They weren't lottery picks. They were, these guys were not drafted by the Knicks, but like together, they built a scrappy team that like you didn't want to be on the floor with. They were going to out hustle you for a loose ball. They were going to out rebound you. They were going to make the extra pass and find the open guy.
And my point is, that's what this group of Pistons is. They're the Knicks that once were.
Yeah, but I don't know about that. I give them credit for the collection of guys that they put together in this motley crew because they do have guys like Dennis Schroeder. Nobody wanted him. Tobias Harris. They couldn't wait to get him up out of Philly. Tim Hardaway Jr., I forgot, was even on their team at some point this season. Malik Beasley signed a 1-year deal with them. They have those guys, but they don't even have Jaden Ivey, who they drafted. They drafted Stewart. They drafted Asor Thompson. Those guys are their young guys, even Holland and Jalen Duren. So they have a good mixture of veteran, journeyman, and homegrown drafted players that are coming together and they're forming their identity. I guess they are gritty and they are tough, but they're just not, in my opinion, they're not better than the Knicks. They don't have the talent and experience on the floor and the coach. So if the Knicks lose this series to them, that's going to be a massive shock and disappointment.
No, absolutely. That's what I'm saying, though. I'm not saying they're better than the Knicks. I'm saying the Knicks are better than they are. But it's that mindset that can overtake you. And look what it's doing for them. They're getting all the calls. I mean, there's so many elements.
And that's why
the Knicks have to prove us wrong. They have to go out there and
exactly. That's why I think they need to feel what it feels to get away from home. Because Madison Square Garden will inflate your ego sometimes to your own detriment because you're thinking, don't worry about it. We got it. Don't worry about it. Like Karl Anthony Towns says, like they're just going out there thinking that the ball is just going to bounce their way and that they're going to hit all the shots and that they can come back. No, those guys are out there scratching and clawing for everything, willing to bite a kneecap off. You got to match their intensity. You got to be as hungry as they are. And I think going on the road, dealing with those fans, I think that'll turn it up to a different level for them. Hopefully they get the calls, but they absolutely cannot lose Game 3. Avery, thanks for the call, man. 888-808-1019 as we start to mix some baseball into the conversation. The Mets are hungry. The Mets are winning. The Mets are out to finish the story from last year. And I know it's early. And I know people will poke holes, and I'm not like this, right? This is how you know I'm not that much of a hater. Again, I don't hate the Mets. These are my Mets. I follow them closely. I have to. I hate some of the goofy-ass, corny Mets fans that I interact with online, but I don't know any of y'all. I never see y'all. You have a Pete Alonso avatar, or you know what I'm saying? Like you're hiding behind Mr. Met as your profile picture. Some of them I got issue with, but that's like 5% of the fan base. There's so much of the fan base that I'm seeing when I'm watching this game, jumping up and down, standing up at the game, watching the Mets happy out there at Citi Field. It's packed. It's full. You're enjoying a good team. You're enjoying having a good team now, consistently now, right? Even if we go back to 2022 and we talk about different machinations and versions of the Knicks, this is a different version of the Make It Happen Mets from 2022 and the OMG Mets from 2024. You don't have all of the guys, but you have enough of those guys. There's been talk that, asking David Stearns about the chemistry of these guys, about the culture in the clubhouse. The leader of the team talks a lot about that culture. And he talks about the culture of the Mets, the standard of the Mets. I love how accountable Lindor has been when he has been at fault, making the errors. And then I also love, as a captain type of player, the shortstop, the leadoff hitter, how he sets the tone, how he takes matters into his own hands. A 4 RBI night tonight. Stay tuned for the big shot of the night. Zach is in Wanacue on the Fan in New York. Go for it, Zach.
Keith, what's up, man? First, I want to say, not a Mets hater. I know you're a Yankees guy, but you're the only one I can tolerate. You're the best host. Other than that, I tweeted at you and said Lindor was the best shortstop in New York baseball history. You told me to call in, so here I am.
Oh, no. He said it on air. Go on. Tell us why.
All right. Okay, so through 11 seasons, through their age this year, Lindor, more WAR, more home runs, more RBI, same Gold Gloves, 4-0 Silver Sluggers to Lindor. So he's better at the plate. They're equal in terms of awards in the field. Lindor is going to catch him in terms of like appearances, everything, all that. You know what? The averages will probably be better for Jeter, but in terms of everything else with the World Series, the All Stars, all that, you got to look at the teams Jeter had. I mean, just individually, Lindor he's a stud. Like, no other better way to put it. He is the guy.
I'm not going to hate on Lindor, but I got to take Jeets.
You don't hate ever, so.
I just like, I'll never hate on Lindor, honestly. I think I had a take a while ago about his contract and how I felt like that was Steve Cohen going out there to make the big splash with his contract, but he's worth every penny of that contract.
Yeah. If Steve didn't do what he did following that up, that would have been a fair take, and I would have agreed with you, but he's done some other stuff then. I just feel like Jeter made some incredible plays and incredible moments.
And he had an incredible talent around him.
Yeah, but I just think individually it's a decent argument, and I'm just so happy to have Lindor. I can't wait for him.
How old are you, Zach? Are you not a Jose Reyes guy? Because I got some homies that used to swear by Jose Reyes.
I'm 33, but I'm a little bit newer to being a Mets guy. I'm like 8 years
Okay, so you weren't really watching Jose Reyes back then. Yeah, he's not better than Lindor anyway, so.
Not my guy. I hate that guy, but
maybe a Ray Ordonez guy. No.
No. I mean,
it's too early. It's too early.
Yeah, but yeah, I really think that Lindor is the best shortstop that I've seen play in New York individually. I mean, like I said, Jeter made the big plays on
the big teams in the big moments, and I'm not going to take that away.
But
he's a close second to Didi Gregorius. I'll give him a close second to Didi. Thanks for the call, Zach. You bring up a good point. I remember a point in time where folks were asking who's the better shortstop in New York, Gleyber Torres or Francisco Lindor. I didn't partake in that one. I wasn't even on the Fan yet, but I'm just like, that's stupid. Don't say that. Not for nothing. Gleyber can't even field the position. And once he can't field the position, that's going to bleed over into his at-bats not being good. I mean, there were actually some people talking about Volpe versus Lindor. Let's not do that either. Let's not do that. Please. Lindor is like that, bro. I was at the game when he hit those 3 homers. And I talk about that Subway Series being the best Subway Series. And now this year we're getting it back to a 2-weekend series, in mid-May. And I mean, that 4th of July, the series that's on July 4th, 5th, 6th, that's insane. I don't know if I'm going to make it to that one. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to drive all the way out to Queens, and I'll probably have some family stuff to do. I'll see you in the Bronx, though. But anyway, back to Lindor being, and the whole point of Zach's call. I told him to dial 888-1019 and repeat this, and he said he was on his way home. He was on the 7 line, but he said Francisco Lindor is the best shortstop in New York baseball history. Now, he just told you, he wasn't watching Ray Ordonez, and he wasn't watching Jose Reyes, but obviously it's a shot at Derek Jeter. Obviously it's a shot at the captain, who has 5 rings and World Series MVP and All-Star Game MVP, and I mean, Jeter is so decorated. Lindor, as far as a player, switch hitter, his glove, his bat. I mean, even the milestone that he just hit, 250 home runs. Like, in another 10 years, I don't know what we could be talking about with Lindor, but I'll say Jeter. Jeter gets the short end of the stick by this younger generation because they don't understand how clutch he was. If there was a Derek Jeter with these Yankees, as far as being as clutch as he was at the plate and leading by example in the field and being that standard for everybody else to follow. Like if Judge had Jeter's clutch gene, forget about it. 888-808-1019. Jeter for me, like I started watching baseball when Jeter came up, and he's untouchable to me. He's just untouchable to me. The captain. There's just so many things that he did. Let's see. 5 World Series championships, 7 American League pennants, 14 All-Star selections. I was at his last All-Star game. 5 Gold Glove awards, 3,465 regular season hits. And it's about the moxie. It's about the swag, the aura, the way that he carried himself before there was social media. He wasn't no family man back then. He was pulling the baddest. Like I just think Derek Jeter in New York, the level that he did it, and even how he did it, just I don't know. It's tough for anybody to come close to. But if you're talking about Lindor, there's metrics and stuff that you could say like, yeah, Lindor is a freak. Lindor, and he's not done. I got a ton of respect for the player that he is and how much he matured in New York. Right? Can I add that? Like, it's one thing to have the contract, and we talk about him doing the thumbs down and him having slow starts. Like last year was him really maturing in New York. This is my team playing through a back injury, putting the team on his back, coming up with clutch hits. You want to talk about like breaking up a no hitter, in their final outs coming through. Lindor became that guy, and he's carried it over to this year and this season. It's been amazing to watch him set the tone consistently, him be accountable consistently. Like he is the model. He's the Mets captain. He just doesn't have the title yet. In Massapequa, Matt, you got it. You're in there before we go to break.
Keith, what's going on, bro? That guy that's even comparing Francisco Lindor to Derek Jeter is a clown. I mean, Francisco Lindor is an unbelievable athlete. He probably has the edge on athleticism, but and I'm not a stat guy, but you go into the stats. Derek Jeter's career batting average is 310. Lindor's is 275 around, whatever. But 14 All-Star appearances. And I get it, Lindor had his nice MVP year last year. He had a great year. But come on, bro.
No, it's not a thing yet. I think it's so premature because you have to win. This is New York. All we talk about is championships and winning. He got to the NLCS, they lost. He didn't even win the pennant. So win the pennant first, get to the World Series. I mean, he's played in a World Series with the Cleveland Indians. He was part of that 22-win Windians group, but they lost too. Yeah, they lost in the World Series as well.
Yep. And no, Derek Jeter. Listen, man, he was the face of consistency. I mean, Lindor was good last year, but the year before that, the thumbs down, and
yeah, he's still got a long way to go consistently to prove it, and I think he will. But we can't just say because he walked it off Friday night and then he started the game with a homer, like he's the best shortstop in New York history. Like we can't jump to that quickly.
Nah.
Well, whatever. I let him get it off. He took it from Twitter to the radio.
Good for him. He's been watching baseball for 8 years.
Yeah, he said he didn't even go back to Jose Reyes. Thanks for the call, Matt. I guess we'll go. Derek Jeter, Phil Rizzuto, Francisco Lindor, Didi Gregorius, and then right behind Didi Gregorius, Francisco Lindor. 888-808-1019. Nah, Lindor is definitely better than Didi. But man, I was there when Didi hit that grand slam against the Twins in the DS. Rocked the place, boy. I was like, what? I was in the section that he hit the ball to. I was like, good night. Turn it up in here. They're not beating us. And that's still my favorite day and night at Yankee Stadium. Because we got there early and we were in the Bronx from I saw Mike Ford walking in. So I had to have been up there in the Bronx at like 9, 10 in the morning. Just because sometimes, like, especially coming from Jersey, I don't want to deal with the traffic. This is before my son was born and before I was married. So like I could just wake up, tell my girl at the time, like, I'm out playoffs, postseason. You know where to find me. Those were the days. You just be like, I'm going to Yankee Stadium right now, where, at the time I think I was living in West New York and going up, um, through Edgewater to Yankee Stadium, going over the George Washington. I remember one night I made it back in 17 minutes with no traffic. I used to be able to dip from there to Yankee Stadium in the morning, 25 minutes. That's a dream, to live in Jersey and be able to get to Yankee Stadium, no traffic, 25 minutes. But if you wait, that doubles, triples. So yeah, postseason, I was like, I'm not playing those games. Shout out to my guy Adoni Batista, because I think Adoni, he lived in the complex like maybe a mile south of me, less. And he's like, I'll pick you up. What time you want to go? And he's triple OG as far as like season tickets and seeing the Yankees. I told him, like, yo, we should be up there by 10. He's like, all right, bet, I'll pick you up 9:30. All right, we out. Can't wait for it. 888-808-1019. Stay tuned for the big shot of the night as we get into this last hour that I have tonight on the Fan. We're talking baseball now. If you want to weigh in on the Mets and Francisco Lindor, or Aaron Judge and the Yankees, or I don't know, Lindor versus Jeter for the best shortstop in New York baseball all time. Keith McPherson on the Fan. Let's take this break and we'll be right back. All right, yo. Chat, and then we'll get back to what we were talking about. Yeah, so when you're saying, Keith, in my previous post about you letting your followers talk about different topics, I meant more than sports. You let us talk about life, and you have talked about your story. Yes. So the whole crux of this station is sports. But like, it's sports nonstop all day, every single day. And sometimes we forget that we are human beings, hosts, and even the callers. We're fans, but like every now and then you need to interject some like reality and real life stuff. So like, honestly, I told you guys a little bit about like my son and my sleeping and all this stuff. I don't mind doing that, but I feel like if you're in here, you follow me on one of these platforms, so this is like a safer space. So I don't mind, but like, I don't know. There are times where I've gone on some tangents on air and shared things about my personal life. And then I'll read them on Twitter, or not even I'll read them. My wife will read something on Twitter, screenshot it, and send it to me. And she doesn't care. She thinks it's hilarious that like I even like will have like people writing about me online. And my wife met me in college, so it was like all this stuff now is like it's like funny to her. Like she thought it could happen, but like now that it happened, she like gets a kick out of it. Like, oh, look at this screenshot. Someone said that like all you do is talk about being a new father. And I'm like, well, that's a foremost thing that I have going on, but a lot of things come back to that. But I've started to do less of that over time, because I'm just like, I'm not gonna let you nerds go on Reddit anonymously and mock me for being a good dad. Like, I'll leave that out. You should just know that that's standard. Knicks getting food poisoning in the Motor City. Nah, let's not put that energy out there. All I was saying was that Cody Bellinger got sick in Detroit eating room service. And the parallel I made was the Knicks are going to be there for 5 days. You think these guys aren't ordering room service? They can't just walk the streets of Detroit. So like and I'm sure they're in a different hotel. Actually, I can't be sure. But I wouldn't be ordering. I wouldn't risk that. Could you imagine Jalen Brunson misses the next? And I don't even want to put that energy out there. But it happened to Cody Bellinger, and then right after it happened to Austin Wells. Gotta be careful. Tibbs looks like an adult version of Charlie Brown. Yeah, okay. It's just bag on Tibbs tonight. I like the idea of giving Precious a little run. The Pistons have the size advantage by such a wide margin. Yeah, and he seemed like getting the opportunity to play there in that last regular season game. He was with it. Carlos, what's up, man? Carlos says, what's up, Keith? Are the Knicks in trouble? Yes. Yes. They have not dominated for long stretches at all, besides the stretch that, they went 21-0 on that run to come back and win the game. They were down 8 when that happened. They've been outplayed majority of these quarters, and that is alarming. Cleveland is hilarious. They stand a snowball's chance in hell to ever face the Cavs? I think you might have been backwards with that. Cleveland is the Cavs. Cleveland is hilarious. They stand a snowball's chance in hell to ever face the Cavs. Keep doing your thing, man. Hate how much you hate on the Mets, but respect your hustle, man. I just bring balance to the force. If you just heard me talk about the Mets, I've been giving nothing but praise to Steve Cohen and David Stearns and what they've been able to do with this pitching. How fans are actually showing up to Citi Field, because Citi Field's been around for a long time. It wasn't looking like this in April, and now they're winning, and they have a winning streak, and you feel like they're going to win, and now they have star players, and they have guys overperforming in the rotation, and their bullpen is solid, and a team like the Phillies is coming in, and you're in first place, and you're gaining ground in first place. Like it's a new day. So, like, as much as I'm a Yankee fan and hate Mets fans and troll the Mets, I'm a baseball fan. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, they're a good team. And this is picking up from where they left off last year, and the fans are showing up. So, like, people are believing, and they're giving them a ton of reasons to believe. What's your NBA Finals prediction? OKC versus Boston? Perhaps, man. I don't really have one. Big facts.
Good morning at 1 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by PoliceOfficersRightToSue.com. Pistons outplayed the Knicks again, but this time able to close as Dennis Schroeder, the go-ahead three, 55 seconds left after Detroit had coughed up a 15-point advantage, able to hold on and bounce the Knicks 100-94. Cade Cunningham poured in 33, but the Knicks barking at the officials all night. Detroit shot 34 free throws, the Knicks 19, including 14-2 in the disparity in the first half. Jalen Brunson at 37. Mikal Bridges 19, but just 10 each for Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart. Series even at 1 with Game 3 in Detroit Thursday night. Clippers able to outlast the Nuggets 105-102 behind 39 from Kawhi Leonard, so that series is tied at 1. Meanwhile, 2 homers, 4 RBIs for Francisco Lindor. Mets hold up the Phillies 5-4. Tyler McGill dominated with 10 Ks, giving up just 1 hit over 5 1/3 scoreless. And the Guardians erased the Yankees 6-4. Clark Schmidt hit around for 5 runs over 4 innings in his second start. Jose Ramirez went deep, drove in 4. 54 degrees, cloudy skies at Central Park. That's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
The big shot of the night is brought to you by WFAN and me, Keith McPherson. Bright lights, big city. We got a bunch of big shots, and tonight's big shot of the night goes to the unnamed captain, but really the captain, the leader, the face of the Mets, the leadoff hitter. Back-to-back days, he leads off with a home run. He can't be stopped. He has 2 homers in this game. The second one coming in the 7th inning, a 3-run bomb, so that he finishes off the night with 4 RBI, 2 hits, scoring 2 runs, worked a walk. Struck out once, but you know what? It's all good, man. He's picking up the slack for the guy behind him. And that's not a shot. That's saying, Juan Soto was 0 for 4. He had an almost home run. Doesn't matter, man. Lindor is doing it. You could say that his leadoff homer was the difference with the Mets winning 5-4. You could say that he's the difference. Watch his post games. Watch how he speaks and talks about the team, right? In the beginning of the season, when the Mets were struggling a little bit, they talked about not having quality at bats. Today, he says, yeah, okay, I had 2 home runs, but at the end of the day, guys had quality at bats today. Listen to when he talks about the standard and the culture that the Mets have. I remember last year when Jorge Lopez threw his glove into the stands, Carlos Mendoza said, "That's not the standard around here. We have standards." And I laughed on air. I said, "Oh, really? You're the Mets. Let's see your standards." And after that, Lindor calls a team meeting. He speaks. I think JD Martinez speaks. Nimmo speaks. And the Mets, off they go on a magical run. I just look at this guy as a leader, a guy that is leading by example, and also verbally, I don't know, it's hard to find guys in sport that are making the big money that can talk the talk and walk the walk. And the Mets have that in Francisco Lindor, a guy who I think should have been the National League MVP last year when you think about what he does, like I just said, offensively, defensively, in the media, and then going out there and backing it up for his teammates and setting the tone, setting the example, being the first one to hit, and then running out in the field, making plays with his glove as well, like playing shortstop every day. And yeah, he's had a couple errors this year, but he's owned up to them. He's been very accountable and taking it on, and then he's come back and made up for it. So I've been very impressed this early season with Francisco Lindor and how he's leading this Mets team. And clearly, last October wasn't a fluke, and these guys want more, and they're set up for success. They're set up to get more help and have healthier guys come back and join the team and also add at the deadline. So for the Met fan that is going out to Citi Field to support this team, continue to do so all season long, and they're not going to let you down. It's clear that they are responding to that place being full, that place being loud, fans being into the game. They haven't lost. Will they lose one game at home so far? So, yeah, congrats to the Mets fans on the good start. Here's the anti-Mets fan, John in Maspeth on the fan. John, what you got to say? No, it's okay to be. It's okay.
Yeah.
I understand. I mean, I chuckle at a lot of their, downfall and little things that they do as well, but I give credit where credit is due.
Listen. They were throwing the punches when they signed Soto. Soto chose us. He wanted to go to a winning team. Blah blah. Now he chose the money. Now look at him. He's underperforming. He's hitting 240. Hasn't even homered yet in Citi Field.
Almost just by a few feet. By a few feet, he almost rocked the place.
Yeah, well, by a few feet, still not good enough. He's getting carried every night by Alonso or Lindor, like tonight. And that's all he's been his whole career. He's been someone who's been getting carried. He got carried by Judge last year. Got carried by Stanton in the playoffs. Was getting carried by Decent Machado in San Diego.
Anthony Rendon, Trey Turner, and Ryan Zimmerman.
He's getting carried his whole career. He's a Robin, and that's always going to be his career. Who's going to carry him? And he's probably not even going to care, but whatever. I'm kind of tired of talking about him because he's a nobody now. He's just a mediocre player that just draws walks. Probably name 25 outfielders that I'd rather have over him right now. Maybe 50 if you include his contract. But, I'm not, whatever. He's done. We're a better team without him, obviously. Bellinger.
Max Fried. Max Fried is not a Yankee right now if Lindor doesn't take the Met deal.
Even Devin Williams, man. Look, I'm not worried about Devin Williams. It's early in the season. He's had, if you take away his two bad outings, where he gave up 4 earned and 3 earned, then he's only had 1 earned run in 6 and 2/3 innings. That's not bad. Listen. These relievers, their ERA goes up and down, it shoots up and down easily. Look at Edwin Diaz. His ERA is over 5.5 right now. He's always been showing up and down, but sometimes, like you said earlier, a lot of these closers, like Emmanuel Pache, they just don't have it yet. But At the end of the day, listen, I want to see a Subway World Series. One team cashed their check last year, and someone was there. The other one missed out. Hopefully, the Mets cash their check this year. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hoping for it ever, but it just seems like, welcome to the party, Mets fans. The Mets are going to be contending every year. They're going to be good. We expect the Yankees to do the same. So it's the odds are.
The island of relevancy. You know.
Yeah,
They're just docking their ship on the island of
I don't mind
relevancy
it.
When the Yankees own like multiple condos, you know.
I don't mind it. Come on down.
Come on in. We'll show you around. We'll dog walk you. And listen, they can go sweep us, next month and in July in these, 3-game Subway Series here and there.
They're not going to sweep.
That's their World Series every year. That's the thing that they take tremendous pride in, or Subway World Series. I don't care. The World Series that I care about is the actual World Series. That's the Subway World Series. Just like Jeter said, it's just the Mets. We don't care about them, I care about Boston and Toronto and, the teams in their division. I don't care about these damn Mets until we play them in a World Series. That's only happened in 2000. And what do we do then? We dog walk them. And I can't wait to do it again.
Thanks for the call, John. John from Maspeth, you guys have probably seen him. He pulls up to Citi Field. He doesn't live too far, so it works for him to get his content out there. And he's great at needling the Mets fans. People think it's me. They think I'm the top hater. They think I'm the top guy. I'm not the top guy. I don't have that much time to be the top guy. 888-808-1019. It is good for the rivalry. The rivalry has a lot of juice now. And it's not just because of Juan Soto. It's because both ballparks are full. Because both ballparks have good players. The Yankees aren't hurting without Juan Soto. The Yankees aren't longing for Juan Soto. Ben Rice will be back in the lineup. Trent Grisham eventually will be back in the lineup. Just take those two players alone. As I was on this radio station all offseason saying, we need another bat. We need another bat. I was not factoring in what those two bats would be at all, really. I didn't expect them to play as much as they've played. I didn't know Stanton was going to be down, and then Ben Rice would get all of these opportunities to not only just DH, but also lead off. And, I mean, Paul Goldschmidt, I knew what Paul Goldschmidt was. I'm not going to sit on here. I got to find a young guy that listens to my show to, record little takes and stuff to go back. Because I'm not I don't have how the daytime parts can go back and they can have a producer go back and look at an exact date or whatever. I'm I know I was endorsing Paul Goldschmidt the entire way. I don't think there was one night where I was like, Paul Goldschmidt, no. People wanted Christian Walker. People wanted the Yankees to check on Alonso. I'm like, if Paul Goldschmidt is available, which he is, and he's interested, this guy is a professional hitter. And the production that he's going to give the Yankees at first base, I don't know if this version of I do know. This version of the Yankees would not exist if they gave $670 million to Juan Soto. We'd be in a tough spot. We'd be in a tough spot. So everything happens how it's supposed to happen, right? The Mets get Juan Soto, and all the conversation that was being had about where Pete Alonso was going to go. He was never going to be a Yankee. He also never was going to Toronto. They made the smart decision in bringing Pete Alonso back. Again, I tip my cap to the Mets fans who showed up to Amazing Day and damn near booed the owner and president of baseball operations who have brought this glorious time to you, but you let them hear it as far as how you felt about Pete Alonso, and then they went down to Florida and had a private meeting with Pete Alonso and got the deal done. And where would this Mets team be very early on without the production of Pete Alonso, who I've been calling Paid Pete because since they paid Pete, he's been money. He's carefree. He said he hasn't been this locked since his junior year of college. So with the combination of Soto batting between Lindor and Alonso, it has masked what Juan Soto hasn't been. But don't be foolish. Juan Soto is going to go on a tear at some point where we're all going to be quiet. I thought it was coming now. He had 4 or 5 ribbies. He drove in some runs over the weekend, and then he had that homer just barely. I'm like, oh, here he comes. It's Juan Soto, bro. That's what I was telling Yankee fans last year when they were surprised watching. I'm like, it's Juan Soto, bro. He's different. He's gonna post. Baseball is not hard for him. It's hard now. I think the adjustment has been hard for him. You know, when I saw him over the weekend get the standing O and then be asked about it and say, like, yo, I really appreciate what they did. I feel like they don't know how meaningful that is. It means a lot to the players when they do that. I thought you were a robot, Juan. I thought you were unaffected by those things. He's showing a human side. Now he's got more money than most humans would ever, combined make. He's showing a little bit of a human side. But then, I thought about Judge. I'm like, standing O for Judge. Judge is used to that. Since 2017, they hit the all rise. I'm the king of New York, Mellow. Like, it's part of Judge's walk up. And that happened, right? That all rise happened. I remember being in the stadium back in 2017. The all rise happened because you have to stand up to make sure you have a clear view of his at bat. He might homer. He might hit the ball to you. So when Judge comes up, he's used to the standing ovation. When he chased down the home run record in 2022, every ballpark he went to was standing O every time he came up. In Yankee Stadium, everybody was standing and recording. So Judge was used to that. I don't think if and Judge also was booed. I don't think if they ever asked Judge about the standing O, I don't think he'd say anything about appreciating it. But anyway, Tony in Montreal, back on the fan. Thanks for holding.
How you doing, Keith? Amazing show. Listen, I want to get in on this debate about Jeter and Lindor. I'm never going to say that Lindor isn't an incredible athlete, but I've seen a lot of incredible shortstops in my time, and very few are as good as Jeter in terms of his ability to captain a team and to be the leader and to be the insignia and live the insignia of the Yankees. And if you go back to the old movies, he's like the reincarnation of the greats. Like when I'm talking about the Yankee Clipper and the Babe, I put him in those types of baseball icons. And I don't think Lindor's there yet. I don't know what his career is going to be like, but very few could be. And I don't like this argument when they say, oh, Jeter played amongst great players. No, he played amongst great players, but he was what you said, 13-time All-Star, and he had Cal Ripken was also competing at the same time. So there was some heavy-duty competition going on in the shortstop position. I just want to mention one thing also. One of the guys that I saw personally play was Ozzie Smith. He's a 15-time All-Star. He's an NLCS MVP, 13-time Gold Glove, Silver Slugger Award 87. Roberto Clemente, who was close to your heart, he won the Roberto Clemente Award. He's in the Hall of Fame 2022. Now, if you're talking strictly skill, there's nobody like Ozzie. Ozzie is in another class in terms of defense, but he also won a Silver Slugger, and he also won a World Series. So when you're saying like Lindor's the best, okay, I mean, yeah, okay, maybe in the time that you've seen him, but there's other amazing athletes that have played that position. And Keith, you know that the shortstop position is a torturous position. And I think that the prototype of the great shortstops, and they drafted Jeter out of number 6 in the draft, I believe, in '92. So this guy, Jeter, is a 6'2", and he played that position. And it changed the position. It's not just that he was a great player. The prototype for that type of position changed with Jeter. And like you said, the moments when he crashed into the stands and he led the team to 5 World Series championships, very few players could do that. And I just want to finish off with Alonso and Judge. I love both of those players, even though Alonso's with the Mets. But both of them are on a pace. Both of them, I did the stats. Judge should end up, if he keeps his pace up, with 162 RBIs and 214 hits. And Alonso's on a streak that he should hit 207 hits and 176 RBIs. And just imagine if they don't want to pay Pete, like you've been saying, and like I've been saying, if the Mets don't want to pay Pete, maybe the Yanks will pay Pete, and maybe Pete will come and play first base for the Yanks. And imagine those two players back to back. And the reason I like them together, I think the separation of Judge and Soto did well for Judge, and it also did well for Soto, because they're two really big icon players. Sometimes two icon players can't play together, but I think that Pete can play with Judge because they have the same demeanor. They're homegrown guys. Not saying that Pete's from Florida, but I'm saying that they're loyal to their organizations and they've stayed in that organization. And Pete's able to live the spotlight, and so is Judge. Now, I'm not saying they always succeed, but you know what? They're the closest thing to icon players that we have today. And I don't know if you agree with that, but I think they're phenomenal players.
Thanks for the call, Tony. I mean, I agree as far as, both of those guys being faces of their franchises. Both of those guys bursting on the scene, breaking the rookie home run record. Pete and Judge will never be on the same team, though. They're never doing that. Like, the Yankees aren't paying Pete Alonso, and the Mets obviously should. Like, if the Yankees wanted to pay Pete Alonso, they would have put an offer for him in this past offseason. I'm glad they didn't. Like, again, I was all Paul Goldschmidt. And I've said this a bunch of times. The Yankees do not want to be the Mets. The Mets might not want to be the Yankees, but they do some things where it's like, you're clearly, pulling guys that were with the Yankees, knowing that they're here in New York and they already did it on the other side. It should probably work here, whether that's Carlos Mendoza, whether that's Clay Holmes, whether that's Luis Severino or Harrison Bader or whoever it might be, from the Tim LeCastros of the world to the Dellin Betances, Curtis Granderson, don't you know, Robbie Cano. The Yankees will continue on with Ben Rice. If Paul Goldschmidt is done after this year, which I would run him back for another year, especially when you don't know what Stanton is going to be. But, Ben Rice is the first baseman of the future. He's not a third baseman. He can't play the outfield. I don't think they're actually going to let him catch. Looking forward to him being back in the lineup. Another thing you said about, the Lindor thing with Judge, and then you brought in like Ozzie Smith and Cal Ripken and not Judge, with Jeter. Jeter was, playing at the time that A-Rod was one of the best shortstops in baseball, and A-Rod joined him and moved to third base. You remember Jeter and Nomar Garcia Parra. He was definitely better than him, but they were always kind of going at it. And all that this is conversation that came up on Twitter. Zach said Francisco Lindor is the best shortstop in New York baseball history. So, I mean, we're not going across, to like the Cardinals with Ozzie Smith or anyone really. What it is it's a young Met fan and doing what a lot of Mets fans have done in the last few years is celebrate prematurely. Remember when that shortstop from Houston signed with the Mets a couple years ago, Carlos Correa? There were the celebrations, boy. If we could pull up those tapes from those nights and days, the celebrations from Mets fans on the fan and online, that Lindor and Correa were going to be the new Jeter and A-Rod, and Correa was going to move over to third base. Whew, you dodged one with that. But yeah, there's always a lot of premature celebrations, even with the Mets' success now. And I mentioned Loogie talking about how, Citi Field's the place to be. And I think the Mets did like 42-3 on an 81-degree Saturday. Meanwhile, 50 degrees on, Monday last week, the Yankees pulled in 42-6 against the Royals. And I know the stadium fits more people, but it's just like, I think I said something to Loogie on Twitter, like, bro, check a box score before you flex. Like, the Yankees, 42-3. The Yankees did 42-6 on a Monday, coming off of losing a series against the Giants. The Mets did this in a win streak. The Mets did this with 80-degree weather. It's going to take a while for the Mets to compete with the Yankees attendance. And if you don't think it's not firing up Yankee fans to go out, okay, we see what Citi Field looks like. We see how many fans are in attendance. Okay, we're showing up to Yankee Stadium. Wait till you see what it looks like Friday. It's supposed to be 70 degrees. They're giving out that hockey jersey. I don't know how many people have already hit me up. Keith, what time do I got to be in line to get a jersey? What's the best line to get into? You think I'll get one if I get there at the hockey jersey gimmick, but second year that they're doing it, and this year the brand that is making it is DKNY, so it's got a DKNY logo. It looks like clothes, and they have it looks like the Rangers jersey where it says Yankees diagonally across the front of it. I saw Cody Bellinger wearing it. Yeah, I'm gonna go and get me one. You can bank on the Yankees that night having more people in attendance this upcoming Friday there will be more people in attendance in Yankee Stadium than any of the games so far that the Mets have played in Citi Field. And that's not a slight, that's not a troll, that's not a joke. That's just a fact. It's just a fact. A Friday night in the Boogie Down Bronx where they're giving out, and that's the thing too. I think it's only the first 18,000 will get these jerseys, but they're going to put 48,000 people in the building. 888-808-1019. As we continue to talk Knicks and Mets and Yanks and whatever else in New York sports, I think we're going to skip over the Darren Muji Jets conversation the way he skipped over the Aaron Rodgers conversation. Antonio and Dover Plains, before we go to our next break. Antonio, you're on.
Hey, Keith, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Keith, really quick. I listen to the fan all day. I'm a truck driver. I love the fan. But for some reason, you are the one guy that I'm having a hard time with. Like, I respect you and everything, but as a professional radio host, and you have the power, you have the microphone, the power to say everything, whatever you want to say, I don't understand why do you troll the Mets fans so much? Like, the Yankees play in the American League East, the Mets play in the National League East. Like, we have nothing to do with each other. We should root for both teams to win because it's good for New York. I really don't understand why do you troll the Mets so much. I respect you. I love your knowledge in every sport.
Yeah, well, there's trolling, and then there's also facts. I just gave you all the facts about how great the Mets have been, how their attendance is high. The fact is their attendance is not higher than the Yankees. I just gave you all the stuff about their pitching lab and Lindor, and I've spoken highly about their performance so far early in the season. But
yeah, but really quick, I don't want you to come in because I want to bring my point across really quick. All right, I understand that you're a Yankee fan and you don't like the Mets. It is what it is. But
I like the Mets. I like the Mets team. I like Francisco Lindor. I like Luis Angel Acuna.
Yeah,
I like Max Kranick.
Lindor and Jeter, that's stupid. Jeter's the king. I'm a Mets fan, but Jeter's the king of New York.
Hey.
There's no competition.
I would have never thought to compare Lindor to Derek Jeter, but a caller did, so here we are.
It's a stupid conversation. I'm a Mets fan, but that's what I hate about some Mets fans that comparison Jeter with Lindor. There's no comparison.
Okay, so like I'm not trolling when I say that the Met fan celebrates prematurely, and that question was born out of the success that the Mets are having right now. Another good start, or another back-to-back home run game, and a good start right here. Where okay, Lindor is playing well, like he did at the end of last year. He's better than Jeter.
He's not Jeter. But really quick, my thing that I want to talk about is when the Mets, when Brett Beatty and Tyrone Taylor, like these two players put the lineup weak. But there's a difference between Brett Beatty and Tyrone Taylor. Tyrone Taylor gives us defense and speed. What does Brett Beatty bring to the team? I don't understand why does the Mets still insist on putting this guy on the lineup. This guy is not a professional. He's a AAA baseball player and a sprint train baseball player. He's not a professional player. I can't stand seeing Brett Beatty.
They want to give him run. They want to find out definitively whether they think he can do it at this level or not, because he has done it at the minor league level. He's a left-handed bat. He's a guy that can play a couple positions in the infield. They like him. They want to see him become like he broke out of it a little bit over the weekend, but ultimately you're about to see Jeff McNeil come back. And what happens when Jeff McNeil comes back? But I think Mauricio is a ways away. I don't think that they're thinking about Mauricio. Brett Beatty is further along than Mauricio. But, you're going to find out what they really feel about Brett Beatty when Jeff McNeil comes back. Because like you just said, Tyrone Taylor, he brings defense and speed. So even though they're putting Jeff McNeil in center field, I don't expect Jeff McNeil to come back and take center field reps away from Tyrone Taylor. Maybe we see Luis Angel Acuna out there.
Yeah,
I think Jeff McNeil is going to play second base. So then that leaves Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos at third base. And if you're asking me, it's Mark Vientos over Brett Beatty 9 times out of 10, unless Mark Vientos has a groin or a cramp or something.
Yeah, but Keith, listen, thank you, man. I love you. I respect you. Just take it a little easy on Mets.
Never. Nah. Thanks for the call, though. Nah, like I said, I bring balance to the force all day from the morning show, the midday, and afternoon. You would think that it was the Mets house. You would think it was amazing day. You would think that the 7 line has some type of stock in here. You would think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I listen all day and I'm like, yo, somebody has to. Big Mac is back. At least we got me and Big Mac at night to balance out the force. It's so heavy Met fan angles and energy during the day on the Yankees radio network. All I do is bring balance to the force. I'm a troll online, but I also give it up. And I also talk facts and I can be like there's nothing to troll about what we're seeing out of the Mets right now. Out of their pitching staff, out of their bullpen, how the games are being managed, how their star players are playing, even one Juan Soto. Like I said, it was fun for a few days, Yankee fans, to be able to laugh at Juan Soto and really be able to laugh at, Salicata or, whoever was having takes about Juan Soto, but you knew that wasn't going to last. Juan Soto is going to be Juan Soto. So when you tell me to take it easy on the Met fan, nah, it's all fun. This is wrestling, right? So my wrestling character, right? You guys just watch WrestleMania. My wrestling character is obviously a diehard Yankee fan that will talk Mets and Yankees. But when there's an opportunity to troll your 5 borough race or your dance crew on top of the dugout or Edwin Diaz having a ridiculous LED light show almost about to blow the game, but they're sounding the trumpets, I'm going to do that. 888-808-1019. This is my last break. If you'd like to join the show, dial up. Keith McPherson on the fan. BRB. You know this. This thing is it's about balance. If you just troll all the time, then you can never give props. You can never be objective. You could never say a good thing because they're always expecting you to troll. But that's why I also delineate from my online persona and my on-air persona. I think they're different. I think they're completely different. Like I said, I'm on Twitter and you get more bees with vinegar than honey. You know what I'm saying? You know the old phrase? Like on Twitter, people go for the combative. People go for the trolling, the jokes, the negative. Like that stuff plays. And me being such a Yankee fan and like my own history, what people know about me being a Yankee fan, like I can never actually be that complimentary and like show the Mets love. They won't even accept it. But I think it's good. Like you listen, the morning show, Boomer and Gio, they're Met fans. Jerry Recco, Met fan. Sal Licata in the midday, whole Met fan. Evan Roberts wrote a book called My Mets Bible. Loogie, whether it's positive Tommy, whether it's regular Tommy, talk about leading the Mets fans. So like by the time we get to the night and you got me, I was the MLB fan cave last cave dweller to represent the New York Yankees. I was on MLB Network, off base. I got casted as a Yankee fan. I'm not an analyst. I'm not a former player. The nod that I got is like, yo, this guy's an actual fan. I am a bleacher creature. Do I sit in the bleachers every game like I used to? No, I can't. But do I know all the creatures? Yeah. And then how did I get in here? Off of being a Yankee fan and doing Yankee podcasts. Like I got to sit in for Susan Waldman and call a Yankee game. All of that stuff, that was other people's decisions. All of those things, other people decided for me. All I did was do me, be me. You know what I'm saying? And part of that is the rivalry. We don't bang with y'all. We are Yankee fans. At the end of the day, we are over here, y'all are over there. We come together sometimes, but you know, what's understood don't gotta be explained. Feel me? Yankee baby. Like I'm like this, bros. I'm like this, bros. And I could go back. Like, I'm like this, bro. So never. They want me to be complimentary or whatever. I could keep it real, but nah. 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 All right, let's see. A-Rod was a better shortstop than Jeter, but yet he bowed down. He moved. Never seen Jeter carry a team anywhere. He had his times. He had his clutch moments. He won some games. You never failed to entertain, Keith. Let's go. Yankees, Knicks, and Giants. That's what I'm here for. John been drinking. Okay. I don't know who John was. Didn't the Yankees take Strawberry from the Mets and Doc? Yeah, but not right away. Not right away. Didn't the Yankees take Carlos Carrasco and Dom Smith and Marcus Stroman? Yeah, but not right. They didn't take them from the Mets to being Yankees. They don't. They let them go somewhere else, shake some of that Metsiness off, and then they're like, "All right, come on down." Um, I get the Beatty. I don't get the Beatty worship. He's part of their team. Beatty's trash. Twitter does not exist anymore. Keeps Keith. Let's get it right. I think it's both. I think it's a duality thing. You know. Good drop. They should have played this last night for Big Mac. Maybe they did. I don't know. I was asleep. Return of the Mac. K Mac. C Mac. You know, C Mac is coming up next. So I saw him walk in. I'm just giving him a plug, so that you keep listening, to the Yankee fans. They stash us in the nighttime to add balance to the force. Jeff is out on Long Island. Jeff, you're on the fan. I'm good. How are you?
Been listening to you for a long time. I don't ever call it, but I just want to call in and chime in and vent a little bit. I'm a long time Knicks fan. Damn near 60 years old. Since I was a kid, I've been watching Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, you name it, LeBron coming to the Garden, playoff games, get touched, get fouled, go to the free throw line. I just, you're doing it now to a third-year rookie, first time in the playoffs, sending him to the free throw line more than the entire team. Like, when is this stuff going to stop, man? It's a joke. The league is a joke. You change the way the physicality is played during the middle of the season. You change the way the game is being rep, allowing more physicality. The Knicks built their team now to be a finesse team, which the league wanted. Now they're a soft team because you're allowing a lot more physicality. The Knicks will never win, bro.
They don't want to see New York and the Knicks win. They want to see these other stars come in. I was talking before about Cade Cunningham. It's so obvious that they're trying to push him up as the next American superstar in this league that's dominated by their international darlings. Like, we've got stars like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Canada, Jokic from Serbia, Luka from Slovenia, Giannis from Greece. And these guys are really the ones that are going to continue on because, like, Bron is going to tap out at some point. Steph doesn't have forever. Like, the next wave of young American players, we're looking at Ant-Man. Ant-Man is yelling into the stands at Crypto Arena. If you saw that clip, he's fighting with fans saying things he shouldn't say. John Moran is throwing grenades, fake grenades, air grenades at fans. So they're hoping Cade Cunningham can be the star. And if he wins this series against the Knicks, it thrusts him even more into that spot. And you could tell the machine is working.
So just think about this for 1 second, right? You got Tom Thibodeau as the coach, right? His whole mantra is, I'm going to be a physical, defensive approach type of team, right? But yet you got Karl Anthony Towns, and he doesn't shoot run not one play to get him the ball down low in the post or anything, to get him something, maybe get to the free throw line, and the kid doesn't take not one shot the whole game, let alone free throw. How is that possible? Just for that, you got to be fired, bro. You can't be a coach in this modern NBA and not get a shot for him.
I hear you, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's drawing that up for Cat. I think he's looking at Brunson, who he said went to get his cape, and figuring if Brunson is the guy, he's gonna get it done. If not, he's gonna find the open man. Mikal Bridges was still on the floor. He had some open shots. He had some attempts. He even drove and tried to get that like reverse lane. It just wasn't working for him. So ultimately, I mean, is it on the coach or is it on the players? We'll see. It's a long series, but it's getting shaky now because you got to go to Detroit and you got to respond.
Sure. I just got two more things I just want to say. One is this: if Josh Hart isn't going to score for you, then he got to come off the bench and you got to put Mitch in the starting line because you're going to get killed on the boards regardless. And lastly, what I want to say is this: yo, keep trolling them Mets fans, bro. I listen to this radio station all day from the morning all the way to the afternoon, and all I hear is these dudes trolling Yankee fans. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. I'm listening to these crap niggas like that.
Thanks for the call, Jeff. I know. I listen to the station too. And I'm like, yo, is this a Mets clubhouse? From the morning show, everybody's a Met fan. Boomer, Gio, Recco, are any of them Yankees fans? I don't even get to listen to the morning show because I'm asleep. But when I do catch it, you know it's heavy Mets angled. And then BT and Sal, BT tries his best to be objective. And he's a little bit older than me, so he doesn't troll and get into the back and forth with all that. And he's a baseball guy, a baseball player and coach, and he really can talk the X's and O's of it. And then he's got Sal Licata next to him. And shout out to Sal, because Sal's great at what he does. Sal's got that touch, man. He can go viral off of just expressing himself. Juan Soto, it was getting early late. Sal got going when he had enough, and boom, that took off. And then he said he would boo his pants off. Pause. But that took off. And maybe Juan Soto caught some of that and broke out. But yeah, that's just getting to the midday. Then we get to Evan and Tiki. Evan wrote a book called My Mets Bible. Evan goes to the game and scores the game. Evan has season tickets in the 300 level. Evan has the Rico Bronya. Evan is the most Mets human being. He can tell you stuff about the Mets from decades ago. He hasn't missed a Met game. He can tell you things you could probably get specific down to the third inning in 1998, the 14th game of the year. Evan is like that. And then Loogie is on the other side of the glass. Whether it's Tommy or positive Tommy or regular Tommy, he will lead the Met fans. Don't make any vacation plans for October because Citi Field is the place to be and the Mets are big brother. So by the time the games play, and I've heard all that all day, and by the time I hit my Twitter keys and trolled as many random Met fans as I could find in the Twitter sphere, yeah, I'll come to WFAN with a little bit of balance. But then when I do actually talk about, hey, I see what's going on. The fans are showing up. This team is good. Yes, one of the better teams in baseball. I know it's early, but there's enough evidence to show that this lineup is going to hit. They have enough guys, whoever's turn it is, whether it's Pete, whether it's Jesse Winker, whether it's Vientos breaking out, whatever. And they have Juan Soto. You're going to get that Juan Soto at some point. When I do talk about Lindor and his prowess and his leadership, when I do give props to Steve Cohen and David Stearns, because I noticed all the changes and things working in Panama, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to talk to me. I'm not your guy, friend. He's not your friend. He's not your buddy guy. I get it. I'm not the Mets guy. I'm not the guy that the Met fan is dying to talk to about the Mets on the fan. I understand. I can't be. I was just saying in my live chat, shout out to all 1549 in the live chat. I'm like, do you know me? This is my 4th year doing this. I think it's pretty cut and dry. even before they found me. Like, I got casted to be the last MLB fan cave dweller as a Yankee fan. Like, I got casted to be on MLB Network, not because I was a former player, not because I was an analyst, not because I had done any TV at all, but because they're like, this guy is an actual fan. This guy goes to 40, 50 games a year. Even how do I get to the fan? I was doing Yankee podcasts and content and around. I had a couple commercials on the Yes Network, things like that. I was so Yankee down. I had so many Yankee things, bleeding pinstripes about me. I could never be the Met guy. So why even pretend? why even fake it? I'm not faking it. This isn't shtick. This is me. Brian is in Oceanport, New Jersey, a great place to be down the shore. How you doing, Brian?
I'm good, man. Shout out to Mama County.
All day, every day, and tomorrow.
Listen, I gotta be honest. These Met fans, they keep coming at you. The last guy a couple of quarters ago said that Tino Mondra's gonna have 207 hits. In what world are we living in?
I don't know, man. It's so early in the season. You just let people say what is going to happen, and then the dog days come, and slumps happen, and guys get hit by pitches, and all types of stuff happens in baseball. We don't know.
And listen, the reason I know, like, Met fans enjoy it. You got a good team, but until you win something, don't start. I'm actually on a road trip with my kids. We did a great spring break. We went to all these stadiums. I got booed in other stadiums wearing a Mariano 42 jersey on Jackie. Come on, is a Met fan getting booed? Come on.
But that's what I'm talking about, Brian. The Yankees brand is built and they hate the Yankees everywhere. There are 29 other teams and the New York Yankees. Yes, you're getting booed with a Mariano 42 on elsewhere because they hate that the Yankees won all of those championships and are still dominant and still winning, got the best player in the sport, and have a chance to go back to the World Series and potentially win it this year. You're going to get hated on. No, they're not hating on a Met fan pulling up with a R.A. Dickey jersey.
Nobody's gonna boo me. 207 hits. Yeah, boom it.
Nah, it's a great start. And honestly, I'm not rooting for the Mets to fall off. Thanks for the call, Brian. I'm not rooting for the Mets to slump or slow down, or like, this is fun. I have to watch them. I have to listen to the games. It's better when they're good. I said that years ago. I'm like, well, at least they have some players now. I couldn't imagine doing this job. Like, some of the guys here at WFAN had to watch all those Mets games of them being terrible. Watch all those games where there's only like a handful of good players. At least they got some good players now, some good storylines now. And shout out to the fans for going to support them. I think that is great. I am a fan at heart. I'm more of a fan than a radio host. I had way more years of being a fan than being a radio host. I'm just starting to get a hang of this thing. I'm just starting to figure out how to put a show together, talk about things, take calls, tease a break, come back from break, do segments, have audio. So I'm just learning that. I'm really just putting that together now in year 4. But for years, I was going to the stadium. For years, I was going to watch games. I can appreciate any ballpark being full, especially in April. I can appreciate attendance anywhere because I know how hard it is to sell tickets. I know how expensive tickets are. I know how I used to play the resale market waiting for tickets to drop under $20. Please, if I can get one ticket under $20, we're out. But yeah, I know y'all don't want to hear it from me. Not me. I'm a Yankee shill. I'm a Yankee boy. I'm Yankee pom-poms, Yankee cheerleader. That's fine. I love the team. Loving the team changed my life. I'm not a Met fan, and I'm not going to pretend to be one. And even when you hear me speaking highly of the Mets, it's not as a Met fan. It's with baseball glasses on. As a baseball fan, I'd speak the same about the Detroit Tigers. I'm looking at the Detroit Tigers. I said this before the Yankees played them. I'm like, I think they're going to be sneaky good this year. I think they got something over there. I think go Cubs go. I think the Cubs got something over there as well. I love that the Orioles are trash. I cannot wait to see what the AL East looks like. But I'm not trying to win anybody over or convince them. People can't tell me what to be or take it easy on the Met fan. No. Some days the wind's gonna blow a certain way, and it's to hell with the Mets. Some days the wind blow a certain way where I'm like, wow, look at the Mets go. It's just depending on the weather, depending on how I feel at the time. EJ is in East Meadow next up on the fan. You got it, man.
See, finally, at least you admit it, though. You know what I mean? As a Mets fan, diehard, 1979 born, 1986 is 7 years old. Like, yo, let's go. Okay?
It's New York. Like, you know what the reality of New York is? There's two sides, and I'm gonna let you, but like, it would be so fake of me to come in here bleeding Yankee pinstripes, being a Yankee boy, and let me come in here and turn my Yankees down and act like I love the Mets.
Mad at you. I love this. This to me is what sports is all about. This to me is what sports is all about. And everybody out there that wants, hey, stop changing Keith. Don't ask Keith to be real sweet or nothing like that. Don't. No. We don't do that. Not in New York. Okay? We're Mets fans. We're Yankees fans. There is no intermission.
Some people call and say they root for both. I humor it, but I'm just like, nah, no, you don't. I don't know anybody that does that.
My best friend, I was literally texting. I said, "Oh man, our teams are out to a good spot." He's a Yankee dog. I was like, "Yeah, our teams are out to a good spot." He's like, "Yeah, you know, but."
Yeah, but the Mets haven't played anybody. Like, that's what I keep hearing from my Yankee fans. They ain't played anybody. I'm like, I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah, we got a better record and this, that, the third, but all of a sudden, oh, what? So, but I gotta get at you real quick at what you said a little earlier because of Tony from Canada. Let me just say this, Doc, Darren.
Not right away. Somebody in my chat just said that too. They said, "What about Doc and Daryl?"
Carlos Beltran, Sandy Alomar, Yogi Berra. Don't you dare speak about.
The Yankees don't take Mets right out of Citi Field, Shea, and then make them Yankees. Nah, they let them go somewhere and shake the stench off, and then after they go somewhere and they get some of the Metsiness off them, bring them on down. Carlos Carrasco, come on down. Dom Smith, you too, Marcus Stroman. Like, did some of that Mr. Metness wear off? Hey, C is for cookie is good enough for me. Thanks for the call, EJ. Carlos Carrasco been serviceable. I ain't even mad at it. I had no idea he'd be on the team. I didn't think he'd make the team out of, spring training. All right, it's been fun. Coming up next, Chris McMonagle. And he'll take you to when the rest of the Mets fans come through. Good night. Done. You know? Well, that's a good way to end with a little rivalry, a little bit of back and forth. All right, I got to go home and try and sleep, yo, before baby boy get up and he started looking for Dada. You know how that go. My wife would be like, Dada asleep. And he'll be like, knock on the door. I'm like, don't knock on the door, bro. Don't knock on the door. But I'll get up sometimes for him. Sometimes if I'm not, really knocked out, I like to see my boy in the morning. Let's see what y'all said in the chat. Twitter is not. He's talking about John Heyman. Who's talking about John Heyman? Oh, talking about John drinking? 50-year-old red hot about lack of respect for Mexico. Nobody hates Yankees. They hate Yankee fans. Yeah, well, I don't hate the Mets. I hate some of these Mets fans, but I appreciate all of y'all. Make sure you guys look at the McPhersonBrand.com website. Get you some merch and some shirts and some whatever you want. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll do this again. Good night.